Chapter 13:15. The shocking roar of thunder resounded through the nine heavens as a huge thundercloud vortex appeared in the sky. It was extremely horrifying. In the blink of an eye, half of the east region had turned pitch black. The aura of destruction spread in all directions as though the end of the world had arrived. Boom! Another thunderous roar resounded. The pitch-black vortex in the sky grew even larger, and the lightning within it grew even more terrifying. It was as if numerous true dragons were roaming about within it. The scene was horrifying, and it caused all living beings to be terrified and unable to calm down. In the immortal court, Baiziki, whooshing crocodile, and the other experts couldn't help but tremble. The scene was too horrifying, and it made their hearts palpitate. How did this brat attract such a heavenly tribulation here? It will destroy this place completely. Whooshing crocodile's expression changed. This heavenly tribulation was too terrifying. Once it came down, no one in the immortal court would be able to survive. Even the little Taichu of the heavenly venerable realm would suffer. Evacuate everyone from the immortal court immediately, Baiziki said in a deep voice. That should be the case, Ling Yun said. The group of people had solemn expressions as they immediately took action. However, in the next moment, the thundercloud vortex in the sky suddenly shook slightly and then slowly dissipated. The pitch-black sky returned to its original state in the blink of an eye. The oppressive and destructive aura also disappeared without a trace. This, Baiziki and the others were stunned. The heavenly tribulation has dissipated? Fanning Xiong stared. In the immortal Emperor Pagoda, Lin Tian's body was intertwined with faint golden radiance. His brows were tightly knitted, and there was a layer of fine sweat on his forehead. After refining the heavenly venerable corpse with the saint refining art, his cultivation had directly reached the peak of the ninth heaven from the seventh heaven of the Emperor realm. After that, he had spent a year comprehending the Tao and various mystic arts. Finally, he broke through the barrier and entered the heavenly venerable realm. Then he attracted the terrifying heavenly tribulation immediately. The shocking roar of thunder woke him up from his comprehension. He was shocked, and he spent a lot of energy to suppress his cultivation back to the heavenly venerable realm, causing the heavenly tribulation to dissipate. Heavenly venerable lightning punishment. He frowned. Stepping into the Empyrean realm actually attracted a heavenly tribulation, which surprised him. After all, the Empyrean realm also belonged to the Emperor realm. He had already passed the Emperor tribulation before, so he didn't expect to attract a new heavenly tribulation when he stepped into the Empyrean realm. I can suppress it for 3 days at most. The heavenly tribulation will appear again. He muttered to himself. From the very beginning, he had never thought that he would trigger a heavenly tribulation when he stepped into the Celestial Master level. Therefore, he had directly stepped into the Celestial Master level, causing the heavenly tribulation to appear. Then, he had used his absolute strength to forcibly suppress his cultivation and prevent the heavenly tribulation from truly descending. As a result, this suppression would not last for long. At most, in 3 days, the cultivation that he had forcibly suppressed would automatically soar to the Celestial Master level. Then, he would once again trigger the Celestial Master level lightning punishment. Only 3 days. He paused for a moment, then stood up and walked outside. He only had 3 days, so he had to make preparations for his tribulation as soon as possible. He couldn't afford to waste any time. In a flash, he stepped out of the immortal Emperor Pagoda. Kid, did you attract the lightning just now? Have you stepped into the Celestial Master level? Whooshing Crocodile and the others had gathered outside the immortal Emperor Pagoda at this time. As soon as Lin Tian appeared, a group of people surrounded him. Lin Tian naturally didn't hide anything and told them the truth. You really stepped into the Celestial Master level? 2 years ago, you were only at the 7th heaven of the Emperor realm. In just 2 years, you have reached such a height? Freak. Although the group of people had already guessed that Lin Tian had stepped into the Celestial Master level and attracted the heavenly tribulation, they still couldn't help but be surprised and shocked when they heard Lin Tian say it himself. Lord Crocodile is still lingering in the half-step Emperor realm. I haven't stepped into the quasi-Emperor level yet. You, on the other hand, have already stepped into the celestial master level. Whooshing Crocodile bared his teeth. In such a short time, Lin Tian had already stepped into the celestial master level. The speed of his progress was truly terrifying. When the heavenly tribulation appeared, it dissipated before the lightning struck. Did you forcibly suppress your cultivation? Bai Ziki asked. Yes. Lin Tian nodded and said, however, it can only be suppressed for 3 days at most. 3 days was too short. After he told everyone about this, he immediately began to prepare for the heavenly tribulation. Soon, 2 days passed. In 2 days, he found 2 Fire Kylan pills that could increase his combat power by 5 times from the Immortal Quartz pill court. He used his alchemy skills to refine them and infinitely weaken the side effects of the Baodan. At the same time, he prepared 10 killing and defensive array platforms each. He also prepared a lot of other means that were beneficial to the heavenly tribulation. It's almost time, he said to himself. In 2 days, he had already made all the preparations he could. There was nothing more to prepare. He took a deep breath and soon found Whooshing Crocodile, Bai Ziki, Bai Chiu, and Jiyu. He told them that he would leave later to undergo the celestial master tribulation. Are you completely prepared? Whooshing Crocodile asked. I've made all the preparations I can. Lin Tian Ondao said. Brother, are you okay? Lin Shi asked worriedly. Jiyu, Shuiyi, and the other girls also looked worried. Bai Ziki, Fanning Xiong, and the others also looked very serious. After all, they had seen the initial scene of Lin Tian summoning the heavenly venerate lightning tribulation. That aura was really terrifying, as if it was going to destroy the world. Now that Lin Tian was going to undergo such a heavenly tribulation, they were naturally worried. Don't worry. Lin Tian rubbed Lin Shi's head and said to Lin Shi and the others. Although they knew that Lin Tian didn't want them to worry, they still felt a lot less worried when they heard Lin Tian's name. Speaking of which, the scale of your heavenly tribulation is very large. Where are you going to undergo it? Have you thought about it? Ling Yin asked. Hearing his question, Bai Ziki and the others looked at Lin Tian. They had all seen the scene of the heavenly tribulation. Thunderclouds covered half of the eastern region. That scene was really frightening. It wasn't difficult to destroy a large region. They were very curious about where Lin Tian would go to undergo his heavenly tribulation. Lin Tian looked at the group and paused. He smiled and said, Sealed dust, ancient region. Bai Ziki and the others were shocked when they heard this. Kid, you're going to bring the heavenly tribulation to harm the netherworld race again. Whooshing Crocodile stared at Ling Yun. Previously, when Lin Tian underwent the Emperor Tribulation in Sealed Dust Ancient Region, he had destroyed the first territory of the netherworld race. Now, an even more terrifying heavenly venerate lightning tribulation was about to descend. Lin Tian wanted to go to Sealed Dust Ancient Region to undergo his heavenly tribulation. It was obvious that he wanted to bring this tribulation over and enjoy it with the netherworld race. This made Whooshing Crocodile sympathize with the netherworld race. If that heavenly venerate lightning tribulation really came down, ordinary heavenly venerates would definitely not be able to withstand it. Whooshing Crocodile felt that even the netherworld race's great ancestor, who was a stage 9 heavenly venerate, would be unlucky if he was covered by such a heavenly tribulation. This place is really well chosen. It's a natural place to undergo the heavenly tribulation. Ling Yin gave a thumbs up. 2 years ago, the netherworld race had slaughtered their way from the Sealed Dust Ancient Region to this side. Although they had won in the end, many living beings had died tragically. Now, Lin Tian was going to the Sealed Dust Ancient Region to transcend the Empyrean Thunder punishment and bring this heavenly punishment to the netherworld race. He could already imagine the scene of the netherworld race's cultivators screaming and fleeing amidst the thunder and lightning. Lin Tian chatted with the group for more than 2 hours to reassure them. Then he stepped out of the Immortal Court. He didn't bring anyone with him. He went to Sealed Dust Ancient Region alone to undergo the heavenly tribulation because he knew how terrifying his heavenly venerate lightning tribulation was. No one in the Immortal Court could help him pass the heavenly tribulation, not even the little Tai Chu. If they really went with him, they might be affected by the heavenly venerate lightning tribulation and be in danger. He stepped out of the immortal court and waved at Lin Shi, Jiyu, and the others in the sky. He spoke again to reassure them. Then, he tore open the void and disappeared into it. The next moment, he stepped out of the void and arrived at the border of the western region of this heavenly domain. He came to the Crimson Plains. 2 years ago, the Netherworld race had slaughtered their way into this place. Corpses and bones piled up into mountains and rivers of blood flowed into this place. Even though 2 years had passed since then, there was still a strong smell of blood in the air. The ground was full of potholes and the soil was completely blood red, giving off a horrifying feeling. Lin Tian came here and recalled the battle that took place here. He recalled the Immortal Court's generals and cultivators from various great sects who died here. He paused for about 10 breaths before he stepped out again and came to the depths of the Crimson Plains. There was a huge spatial tunnel here. He stepped into it and soon came to a dragon burial array diagram surrounded by a bloodstone. The bloodstone was only the size of a fist, but it emitted an extremely terrifying aura. He stared at the bloodstone at a close distance. His divine soul couldn't help but tremble. A cold chill appeared on his back. This bloodstone was obtained from the sinkhole. It was intertwined with the dark light of death. It was extremely terrifying. Back then, he used this bloodstone to cooperate with the dragon burial array diagram to seal the spatial tunnel here. Even the Netherworld Great Ancestor, a 9th stage heavenly venerable of the Netherworld race, did not dare to destroy this array diagram. This was because once the dragon burial array diagram was destroyed, the bloodstone in the center would immediately explode. It would be absolutely destructive. Even a 9th stage heavenly venerable would not be able to withstand it. He looked at the bloodstone and paused. Then he activated the dragon burial scripture. Dragon light surrounded his body as he directly passed through the dragon burial array diagram. This array diagram was set up by him using the dragon burial scripture. Therefore, there was no problem for him to pass through it. After passing through the array diagram, he looked back and glanced at the bloodstone. Then, he continued to move forward. Very quickly, his figure traveled further and further in this spatial tunnel. Gradually, he felt an extremely dense netherworld chi. After another 2 hours, he appeared in a dusky world. Sealed dust ancient region. I'm here again. His eyes were intertwined with bits of light. Chapter 1316. This was the second time Lin Tian had entered this world. Looking around, the space around him was dark. He was in a place similar to a wasteland. There were red stones everywhere on the ground, and the netherworld chi was very dense. It was like a blue mist that floated in every inch of this place, giving people a cold and eerie feeling. The Netherworld race's celestial master level figure personally opened a space tunnel here that leads to the other side. He scanned the surroundings with a faint glimmer in his eyes. This place was very barren, or rather, very remote. He couldn't feel the slightest breath of life, not even a blade of grass. He looked back at the space tunnel behind him, then tilted his head and looked toward the northwest. In that direction, the Netherworld race's Netherworld Temple was located. He had found it in the spiritual sea of an emperor-level expert of the Netherworld race. There was a group of true experts of the Netherworld race inside, and the weakest was in existence infinitely close to the Celestial Master level. Moreover, there was a figure like the Netherworld Great Ancestor who had reached the end of the Celestial Master level. It was very terrifying. Back then, when he attracted the Emperor Tribulation in this world, he only brought it to the first territory of the Netherworld. He didn't dare to go to the Netherworld Temple because it was too terrifying. Now, he was about to undergo the Celestial Master Tribulation, which was much more terrifying than the Emperor Tribulation. This time, he wanted to go to the Netherworld Temple and undergo his Celestial Master Thunder Punishment there. It's not too far from this place, he whispered. His body was covered in a faint golden light. He stepped into the void, leaving behind afterimages with each step heading toward the northwest. With his current realm, a simple step was very fast. It didn't take long for him to leave the wasteland and enter the area where the Netherworld race cultivators lived. He saw many figures of the Netherworld race cultivators. At the same time, the group of Netherworld race cultivators also saw his figure. This was because he did not conceal himself in the slightest. Faint golden light intertwined around his body as he calmly walked towards the northwest in the void. He was simply too conspicuous. Human? How can a human appear in the world of my race? Capture him. This was the 7th territory of the Netherworld race. At this moment, Lin Tian was in the air above the 7th territory. He didn't bother to conceal himself at all. He directly passed through the air above the 7th territory and headed towards the Netherworld Sacred Temple in the northwest direction. This caused most of the Netherworld race cultivators in this territory to discover him. Some Netherworld race cultivators at the Enlightenment realm directly rushed towards Lin Tian to suppress him. In the blink of an eye, this person was right in front of Lin Tian. His large hands intertwined with the cold, killing light of the Netherworld as he grabbed at Lin Tian. His expression was cold and arrogant. Meow poo. As soon as the word meow left his mouth, the Netherworld race cultivator shuddered violently. In the next moment, he exploded with a pop. Lin Tian didn't do anything. His expression was very calm as he continued to head towards the Nether Temple in the northwest direction. With his current height, he could easily kill a first-stage Heavenly Master. A mere Enlightenment realm cultivator approaching him like this and attacking him with killing intent was simply courting death. In the face of such a cultivator attacking him, he didn't need to do anything. Just the rebound of the naturally intertwined aura outside his body was enough to obliterate the other party. What? What happened just now? I didn't see the human make a move. Many Netherworld race cultivators' expressions changed. These people had been looking at the void, watching the Enlightenment realm cultivator grab at Lin Tian. Throughout the entire process, no one saw Lin Tian make a move, but the Enlightenment realm cultivator died inexplicably. Many people were surprised and bewildered. Suddenly, among them, someone's expression changed. Looking at Lin Tian in the void, his pupils could not help but constrict. This person seems to be the human who caused a ruckus in the first territory of the Netherworld. Someone exclaimed, recognizing Lin Tian. What? 2 years ago, when our clan's experts slaughtered their way into the other world, our clan's ancestors personally ordered us to suppress him. It's that reincarnation body? At this place, the other Netherworld race cultivators' expressions changed. A few years ago, Lin Tian entered the first territory of the Netherworld with the Emperor Heavenly Tribulation, causing the entire territory to be in ruins. This news had long spread throughout the Netherworld race, and all the Netherworld race cultivators knew that he was rumored to be the strongest reincarnation body. Moreover, before the Netherworld race's 11 Heavenly Masters led a group of Netherworld race experts into the other world, they had issued the highest order to suppress Lin Tian. This matter was not only known to the Netherworld race cultivators who had slaughtered their way into the other world, but also to the Netherworld race cultivators who had not slaughtered their way into the other world. Now, these people recognized Lin Tian and were all shocked. Is it really the human? The Emperor reincarnation body? Quickly report this to the Lord. This is the human that our ancestors had issued the highest order to suppress. After recognizing Lin Tian, these Netherworld race cultivators all showed fear, and no one dared to go out alone. Someone quickly rushed to the center of the 7th territory to report this matter to the Lord of this territory. Lin Tian stepped into the sky above the 7th territory. Naturally, he was aware of what was happening, but his expression did not change. The direction in which he was moving did not change. He was still heading northwest. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, there was a sound of air being torn apart. Dozens of figures rushed out from the center of the 7th territory and came to Lin Tian. Among them, the leader was an Emperor realm expert, and behind him were 12 quasi-emperors and dozens of half-step emperors. Human, it really is you. The leader of the 7th territory of the Netherworld race was at the fourth heaven of the Emperor realm. At this moment he stared at Lin Tian. Netherworld light flashed in his eyes as he said coldly, "Form the soul, slaying 10,000 kill formation, and suppress him." The seventh territory leader of the Netherworld race was very strong, but from the rumors, he knew that Lin Tian was not weak. Therefore, the ancestors of his race personally ordered him to be captured alive. At this moment, he appeared here with dozens of half-step emperors and above. He directly gathered everyone's strength to form the soul-slaying 10,000 kill formation to suppress Lin Tian here. In an instant, there was a rumbling sound. Dozens of people acted at the same time. With the seventh territory leader at the same position, they formed lines of netherworld runes. In the blink of an eye, a netherworld great formation was formed. Its powerful aura seemed to be able to suppress everything. Suppress! The leader of the seventh territory leader shouted. Cold light flashed in his eyes as he drove the great formation to suppress Lin Tian. In an instant, all the space around Lin Tian was sealed. A powerful force pressed down on Lin Tian. Lin Tian stopped and looked at the lord of the seventh territory who was pressing down on him. There was no change in his expression. Only his fingers moved slightly. Suddenly, there was an earth-shattering sword whistle. A large amount of sword light shot out with him as the center. PFFF, PFFF, PFFF. Blood mist exploded. The 12 quasi-emperors and dozens of half-step emperors were all turned into blood mist in an instant. The leader of the seventh territory leader's body exploded. His divine soul was full of cracks. He barely survived. When he looked at Lin Tian again, his eyes were immediately filled with fear. At this moment, when he looked at Lin Tian again, the divine soul of the fourth heaven of the netherworld's seventh territory leader trembled in fear. He combined the 12 quasi-emperors and dozens of half-step emperors to form the soul-slaying 10,000 kill formation and used all his strength. However, he did not expect that it would be so easily defeated by Lin Tian. The dozen quasi-emperors and dozens of half-step emperors who formed the formation with him were all killed in an instant. He was also severely injured and was only half a step away from death. At the same time, the expressions of the other netherworld race experts changed. Many of them could not help but tremble. How is this possible? Lord and the others formed the great killing formation, but in an instant, the netherworld race cultivators were horrified. In the void, Lin Tian's body was surrounded by a faint golden light. His expression did not change at all. He raised his head and looked at the broken divine soul of the seventh territory leader. He raised his hand and pointed at him. PFFF. A beam of light flew out and entered the person's spirit, causing his spirit to explode with a sizzling sound. The crowd of netherworld race cultivators shuddered once more. Lord! He's dead! How is this possible? Many netherworld race cultivators were trembling with fear. Their eyes were filled with deep fear as they could not help but retreat. In their territory, a fourth sky emperor was actually killed so easily. Lin Tian stood in the void with a calm expression. At this moment, he stepped forward again and headed northwest. At the same time, the golden light outside his body became denser. The next moment, an ear-piercing sword sound rang out. Dense golden sword rays appeared like a rain of swords and slashed toward the seventh territory of the netherworld race. These sword rays were casually released by him, but they were extremely terrifying. Each sword ray could kill an ordinary emperor. Then, in the blink of an eye, these sword rays fell into the seventh territory. Immediately, blood mist exploded one after another. Screams rang out one after another. The ancient buildings in the seventh territory of the netherworld race collapsed one after another. Ah! Help! No! Many netherworld race cultivators screamed and cried for help. They fled in panic like stray dogs in the seventh territory. Lin Tian's expression did not change. He walked in the void. Sword rays were everywhere he passed. Soon, he walked out of the seventh territory of the netherworld race and continued to head northwest. Behind him, the entire seventh territory of the netherworld race was in ruins. blood dyed the ground red. Many netherworld race cultivators died tragically in this territory. Their corpses were everywhere. He stepped into the sky and headed towards the netherworld sacred hall in the northwest. Not long after, he passed by a few other territories of the netherworld race. Every time he passed by a territory of the netherworld race, he would be quickly recognized. The elites of this race would rush out and try to suppress him, but in the end, all of them died miserably, and the territories were destroyed beyond recognition. Chapter 13:17. The man who had wreaked havoc in the sealed dust ancient region had come again. He had passed through several large territories of the netherworld race, and countless netherworld race experts had died tragically. No one could stop him, and several large netherworld territories had been destroyed beyond recognition. This news quickly spread throughout the sealed dust ancient region, shocking the entire netherworld race. Every netherworld race cultivator was shaken. Is it really the human from back then? That reincarnation body? He's here again? No one in the large territories of our race can stop him? The lords were all beheaded? How is this possible? Many netherworld race cultivators were shocked. It was also at this time that Lin Tian had passed through several large netherworld territories. No one could stop him, and he arrived in front of an incomparably grand hall. Looking at it, the hall appeared somewhat gloomy. It was intertwined with the aura of time, as if it had fallen out of the long river of time. It gave off an astonishingly heavy feeling. The netherworld's sacred hall. The corners of Lin Tian's mouth rose slightly. He had passed through several large territories of the netherworld race, all the way to the northwest. At this time, he had finally arrived outside the netherworld's sacred hall. This could be said to be the core sacred ground of the netherworld race. A group of true experts of the netherworld race resided here, and the weakest was infinitely close to the heavenly venerate realm. Whoosh! 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 The sound of something breaking through the air rang out. Almost at the instant he arrived, dozens of figures rushed out of the netherworld sacred hall. Each of them had an astonishing aura intertwined around their bodies. They had obviously sensed the aura of a foreign race approaching this place. The dozens of people were very powerful. They were all netherworld race ancestral kings infinitely close to the heavenly venerate realm. After rushing out of the netherworld sacred hall, they instantly saw Lin Tian's appearance. Their expressions changed. Obviously, they all knew Lin Tian and recognized Lin Tian. Human, reincarnation body, you're quite bold. How dare you barge into this place alone? You're courting death. Looking at Lin Tian, the dozens of people's eyes were incomparably cold. Suppress him, another person said. Moreover, this person was not just talking. The moment his words fell, he immediately moved, raising his hand to suppress Lin Tian. To the netherworld race, Lin Tian was undoubtedly an enemy. Moreover, he was a great enemy. On the other hand, as a reincarnated being, Lin Tian was an even more astonishing prey to them. He was a divine treasure trove. The Empyrean-level ancestors of their bloodline had once issued the highest order to capture Lin Tian alive. Now that he saw Lin Tian, this powerful ancestor king of the netherworld race naturally did not hesitate and directly attacked. Let's attack together and take him down as quickly as possible, another netherworld ancestor king said. The group of netherworld ancestral kings attacked at the same time, their netherworld divine light suppressing the surroundings. Lin Tian looked at the dozen or so people rushing towards him. His expression was very calm. He stood quietly in place and flicked his fingers. With a clang, the sound of a sword whistling rang out and a golden ray of light shot out, crushing everything in its path. With a series of bangs, the dozen or so netherworld race ancestral kings were sent flying. The netherworld race ancestral king, who was at the front of the group, suffered a great calamity. The golden ray of light pierced through the space between his eyebrows, causing his body and soul to explode. How is this possible? The faces of the dozen or so netherworld ancestor kings who were sent flying changed drastically. They looked at Lin Tian again, their pupils constricting. The dozen or so of them were all existences who were infinitely close to the Empyrean realm. The dozen or so people attacked together, but they were all sent flying by Lin Tiany's finger. The one who rushed at the front was even destroyed in body and soul on the spot, disappearing from the world. This was really too shocking. In just a moment, the dozen or so powerful Netherworld Ancestor Kings could not help but feel a chill run down their spines. Lin Tian looked at the dozen or so people and flicked his fingers again. Another flash of golden light rushed out and rushed toward a black-armored Netherworld Ancestor King. Clang! The golden light was like a divine sword. It let out an ear-piercing sword whistle and was extremely fast. The black-armored Netherworld Ancestor King's expression changed drastically. He hurriedly put up a thick Netherworld defensive light screen and directly activated a tyrannical Great Path order to meet the golden light head-on. However, the golden light that Lin Tian flicked out was too terrifying. It instantly tore apart the Nether God art that this person used, pierced through the Nether God art, and directly pierced through the Nether God art that this person had erected. Then, it directly pierced through this person's forehead. Poof! Blood splattered. The Netherworld Ancestor King's divine soul collapsed, and his body also exploded. In just a moment, his body and soul were destroyed. Such a scene undoubtedly caused the other Netherworld Ancestor Kings to tremble in fear. Another casual flick of the finger had killed a Netherworld Ancestor who was infinitely close to the Empyrean realm. The cold gazes of the dozen or so Netherworld Ancestor Kings at the beginning disappeared. Everyone only felt that their internal organs had become ice cold, and they could not help but stagger back. Lin Tian looked at the dozen or so people. His expression remained calm, and there was no trace of change. He raised his hand and pointed at another person. Now his cultivation was higher than these people, and he had the strongest reincarnation body. Killing these people who were infinitely close to the Empyrean realm was just too easy. It was like cutting grass. Clang! A golden light flew out from the tip of his finger. It was extremely fast and pierced through another Netherworld Ancestor King, killing him on the spot. Instantly, all of the other Netherworld Ancestral Kings began to tremble. Killing a person infinitely close to the Empyrean realm with a flick of the finger. Such combat strength terrified them. It was not something they could block. Lin Tian raised his hand. Golden light intertwined at the tip of his finger. He pointed at another Netherworld Ancestor King, and the golden divine light was like a sword. Humph! There was a cold snort. 5 chilling auras suddenly emerged from the Netherworld Sacred Hall, and 5 figures walked out from it. These 5 people were all shrouded in Netherworld divine rings. Their auras were extremely shocking, and they were all at the Empyrean realm. At the same time, there were a dozen other figures behind them. All of them were Netherworld Ancestor Kings infinitely close to the Empyrean realm. Patriarchs! The Netherworld Ancestor Kings who were still alive when they rushed out of the Netherworld Sacred Hall were overjoyed. They looked at the 5 figures at the front and bowed. Lin Tian tilted his head and looked at the 5 figures. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. He had seen these 5 people 2 years ago. They were the Netherworld clan's Great Patriarch, 3rd Patriarch, 14th Patriarch, 15th Patriarch, and 16th Patriarch. Among them, the Netherworld clan's Great Patriarch was a 9th-stage Empyrean realm, the 3rd Patriarch was a 7th-stage Empyrean realm, and the other 3 were 2nd-stage Empyrean realms. All of them were very powerful. Jump directly here, human. You're very good. The Netherworld clan's Great Patriarch said coldly. His eyes were extremely cold. 2 years ago, the Netherworld clan's 11 Empyrean realm experts led a group of people to kill their way into the other side of the world. All 11 Empyreans had fallen, and the 5 of them had been sealed by Lin Tian with a piece of bloodstone, preventing them from entering the other side. It was obvious that after that, the Netherworld clan's people who had killed their way into the other side of the world were all defeated. All of this was because of Lin Tian. After 2 years, when he saw Lin Tian again and saw that Lin Tian had broken into this place, how could he be happy? He was like a silent, destructive beast, and the killing intent in his eyes was very frightening. However, at the same time, There were other lights intertwining in his eyes. Lin Tian was a reincarnation physique, which contained the world's #1 divine treasure, reincarnation origin. For all the cultivators in the world, reincarnation origin was an absolute temptation. As long as they could obtain reincarnation origin and refine it, they would definitely obtain great benefits. He wanted reincarnation origin. Lin Tian looked at the Netherworld clan's great patriarch. The great patriarch was looking at him as if he was looking at prey. What a disgusting look, he said. 2 years ago, when he faced this Netherworld clan's great patriarch, even though he could feel the other party's aura through the dragon burial array diagram that he had set up in the space tunnel, he could not help but tremble and feel the pressure of death. However, it was different now. After 2 years, when he faced the Netherworld clan's most powerful great patriarch again, he did not feel as threatened as before. The Netherworld clan's great patriarch stared at Lin Tian, and his eyes became even colder. The Netherworld's 16 great patriarch said, "You have broken into this place alone. It seems that you are prepared to die." "I am indeed prepared to die," Lin Tiandao said, "but I am prepared to let you die." His voice was calm, and his expression was even calmer. The Netherworld's 16 great patriarchs' eyes immediately turned cold, and a cold light flashed in them. "You have a sharp tongue." The great patriarch's voice was cold, and he immediately moved. His body turned into an afterimage and appeared in front of Lin Tian in an instant. "I will not kill you before I perfectly extract the origin of reincarnation, but I will not let you have an easy time either." As soon as he finished speaking, he immediately moved and slapped Lin Tian's cheek. Obviously, he wanted to humiliate Lin Tian first. This slap brought about gusts of netherworld wind, and the surrounding space was shattered. Its aura was extremely terrifying. Lin Tian did not care at all, and a cold smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. He only moved when the great patriarch's hand was close to him. He reached out his left hand and grabbed the wrist of the great patriarch's hand that was slapping towards him. He also raised his right hand and slapped out at lightning speed. Slap! The sound of a slap rang out. Lin Tian's slap landed firmly on the Netherworld 16 great patriarch's cheek and directly sent him flying thousands of feet away. A little bit of celestial venerate blood spilled in the void, and a few blood-stained teeth fell out. Instantly, the expressions of the first Netherworld ancestral kings to charge out, as well as those who came out after them, flickered. How is this possible? These Netherworld ancestral kings were all horrified. Their clan's Netherworld 16 ancestors were at the second level of the celestial realm. But now, when they took the initiative to attack, they were actually blocked by someone. Then, with a slap, they were sent flying. Teeth mixed with blood floated in the air. At the same time, the Netherworld clan's 3 great patriarchs, 14 great patriarchs, and 15 great patriarchs were all shocked. Even the great patriarch of the Netherworld clan narrowed his eyes, obviously shocked by this scene. Boom! In the distance, the tyrannical Netherworld light surged out. The Netherworld 16 great patriarch rushed back, his eyes full of anger. Human! After rushing back from thousands of feet away, the Netherworld clan's 16 great patriarch stared at Lin Tian with a slightly distorted face. He, a dignified celestial venerate expert, was actually slapped in the face in public. Chapter 13:18. The Netherworld's 16th ancestor rushed back from afar. The flames in his eyes almost materialized, and his killing intent was extremely strong. "I was careless. How could an ant like you?" Staring at Lin Tian, the Netherworld's 16th ancestor's eyes were as sharp as knives, and he did not continue speaking. After all, after being slapped in the face, he could not personally say that he was slapped in the face. However, Lin Tian did not have any scruples. He continued the man's words, "You were slapped in the face?" His words were obviously intentional. Immediately, the Netherworld's 16th ancestor's eyes became even colder and filled with killing intent. "Ant!" The Netherworld's 16th ancestor gritted his teeth, and in the next moment, he moved again. The overflowing Netherworld light was vast and mighty. This time he displayed his divine power. His celestial master level aura surged like a vast ocean, pressing towards Lin Tian step by step. Every step he took caused the sky to tremble violently, as if it was about to collapse. "I'll tear your mouth." Lin Tian looked at this man, the corners of his mouth slightly raised. He took a step forward and disappeared in an instant, appearing in front of this man in the next moment. His speed was so fast that the Netherworld's 16th ancestor was immediately shocked. "You slap." The sound of a slap was loud and clear. Lin Tian's move was fast, and another slap fell on this man's cheek at lightning speed. The Netherworld's 16th ancestor was sent flying again. This time, he flew nearly 10,000 feet away, and blood once again splattered in the void. "This old ancestor, how could this be?" At this place, the group of Netherworld 16th ancestor kings trembled again. Their clan's powerful ancestor, a second-stage celestial master, was slapped by the same person twice in succession. The three Netherworld 16th ancestor, the Netherworld 16th ancestor, and the Netherworld 16th ancestor all narrowed their eyes. The Netherworld great ancestor was no exception. His eyes that stared at Lin Tian became much deeper. Previously, if the Netherworld's 16th ancestor was sent flying the first time because of carelessness, then this time he was sent flying again. Obviously, it had nothing to do with carelessness. It was because Lin Tian was very strong. Boom! An intimidating aura swept out. The Netherworld 16 rushed back from the distance again, the killing intent in their eyes even thicker, extremely shocking. A dignified Empyrean-level powerhouse that had lived for countless years had actually been slapped twice by the same person. Moreover, he had slapped him twice in front of everyone. This was simply the greatest humiliation of all. Human, staring at Lin Tian, this Netherworld race Empyrean old ancestor clenched his fists and once again charged towards Lin Tian. Beams of killing light intertwined, each of which was shocking enough to kill an ordinary first-stage Empyrean powerhouse. "Enough, don't waste time," said the Netherworld Grand Ancestor coldly. His eyes were deep as he stepped forward, heading toward Lin Tian. The Netherworld's 16 ancestors clenched his teeth, glanced coldly at Lin Tian, and stopped. At this time, the Netherworld Grand Ancestor moved. Obviously, he wanted to personally suppress Lin Tian. At the same time, in this place, the other Netherworld race ancestral kings saw this scene, and their eyes lit up. If the Grand Ancestor personally takes action, this human will be suppressed in an instant. Of course, the Grand Ancestor has already reached the end of the Empyrean level. He is already invincible in the world, said several Netherworld race ancestral kings. They looked at Lin Tian and smiled as if they were looking at a corpse. The Netherworld Grand Ancestor's eyes were incomparably deep, as if he had seen everything in the world. Just a simple step in the void caused the space to tremble and distort, and the aura that naturally intertwined outside his body was extremely terrifying. Lin Tian narrowed her eyes. Naturally, she could sense the power of the Netherworld Grand Ancestor. The Netherworld Grand Ancestor stared at Lin Tian, his eyes cold. In the next moment, his figure suddenly disappeared and directly appeared in front of Lin Tian. Then, the Netherworld Grand Palm directly pressed down on Lin Tian, freezing all the space in all directions. The speed was very fast, and this attack was very terrifying. However, Lin Tian's expression did not change, because he was already prepared. He knew very well that he was facing a terrifying figure at the end of the Empyrean level. Boom! He did not make any fancy moves. Dragon light intertwined in his eyes, and he directly waved the Chaos Emperor fist to meet the attack. He did not hold back in this punch. It was strong and tough, and it collided with the Netherworld Grand Ancestor's big hand head-on. Suddenly, the void trembled and collapsed inch by inch. The Netherworld Grand Ancestor's body shook slightly, and the big hand was blasted away. On the other side, Lin Tian's body shook violently. He only felt that his fist was a little numb, and the blood and qi in his body were tumbling. Those who have reached the end of the Empyrean level are indeed powerful. He looked at the Netherworld Grand Ancestor and said. He could see that just now, the Netherworld Grand Ancestor had not even used 30% of his strength, and he had already used all his strength. Under such circumstances, he was still no match for him. Although he was not injured, he was definitely at a disadvantage. The Netherworld Grand Ancestor looked at Lin Tian, and there was a strange light in his eyes, but his expression was still cold. You can take my palm. Not bad. You are indeed worthy of the legendary strongest physique. When he said the words strongest physique, he looked at Lin Tian, and there was clearly a bright light surging in the depths of his eyes. Then, in the next moment, an unparalleled momentum suddenly rushed out of his body. The pressure of the end of the Empyrean level was unmistakable. This is the end. I will not give you any chance. With a rumble, the world shook. As the power of the end of the Empyrean level was revealed, the space within 1,000 feet was completely sealed off in an instant. The huge fluctuation of divine power made people tremble. At this time, the 3,000 great paths were trembling. Lin Tian naturally felt the terrifying aura at the first moment. In the face of the pressure emitted by the Netherworld Grand Ancestor at this time, he only felt waves of pain in his body, as if there was an ancient demon mountain pressing down on his head. Not bad. Very powerful, very powerful. He looked at the Netherworld Grand Ancestor and said, but there was no fear in his expression. He was calm and composed. Then, I can no longer hide my strength. As he spoke, he moved his mind slightly and no longer suppressed his realm. Then, with a loud boom, a dazzling golden divine light rushed out from his body. His aura instantly skyrocketed. In the blink of an eye, it rushed to an astonishing height and stepped into a completely new domain. This is the Empyrean level. The 3 ancestors of the Netherworld, 14 ancestors of the Netherworld, 15 ancestors of the Netherworld, and 16 ancestors of the Netherworld were all shocked. At the same time, in this place, the other Netherworld ancestral kings who were infinitely close to the Empyrean level turned pale on the spot. He actually stepped into the Empyrean level. No wonder a dozen of us together couldn't do anything to him. He easily killed 3 of us. He actually hid his cultivation. The first to rush out were the dozen Netherworld ancestral kings who had attacked Lin Tian previously. They trembled slightly, their expressions ugly. At the same time, the 16 ancestors of the Netherworld also looked ugly. They stared at Lin Tian, the coldness in their eyes thickening. Damn you! Previously, they looked down on Lin Tian and called Lin Tian an ant. They did not expect that Lin Tian had also stepped into the Empyrean level. Divine light intertwined around Lin Tian's body, and the Empyrean level aura was vast and mighty at this moment. This chapter does not end. Please turn the page. The void distorted inch by inch. Very powerful. A strange light flashed across the Netherworld Grand Ancestor's eyes. You've stepped into the Empyrean level. No wonder you could barely take my palm. As he said this, his expression was still cold. However, it doesn't matter. You're just a first-stage Empyrean. After all, it's nothing. Even if you have the strongest Imperial physique, the huge gap in cultivation still leaves you with no room to turn the tables. Today, you've reached the end of being suppressed. As he spoke, the aura around his body became even more terrifying. It froze the surrounding space, and waves of murderous light surged out. Is that so? Lin Tian Lung smiled. As soon as he finished speaking, the sky trembled violently. Boom! A shocking clap of thunder resounded through the 9 heavens and the netherworld. In just an instant, the world turned pitch black. An extremely oppressive aura of destruction covered the sky and covered the earth, causing everyone in the area to tremble. Looking up, thick clouds instantly covered the sky, and a huge thundercloud vortex appeared. Within it, lightning as thick as buckets interweaved, roaring like an angry dragon that wanted to destroy the world, as if it wanted to destroy everything in this world. This is a heavenly tribulation. The Netherworld ancestral kings were shocked. At the same time, the Netherworld 3rd ancestor, 14th ancestor, 15th ancestor, and 16th ancestor were also shocked. Even the Netherworld Grand Ancestor, who was at the peak of the Empyrean realm, could not help but tremble. Boom! The thunder resounded through the 9 heavens, and the space within a radius of 10,000 miles turned pitch black. It was extremely terrifying. Dense lightning intertwined within the thundercloud vortex in the sky. Each bolt was terrifying and incomparably terrifying. Why did he attract a heavenly tribulation when he broke through to the Empyrean realm? Doesn't the heavenly tribulation only exist when one breaks through to the immortal connecting realm? Some netherworld ancestral kings trembled in confusion. There's no other reason. It's because he's a reincarnated body. Didn't he attract a heavenly tribulation when he broke through to the Emperor realm in the first territory of the netherworld? Damn it, he deliberately brought an Empyrean heavenly tribulation here. He brought a natural disaster here. The netherworld ancestral kings trembled. At this time, the lightning in the sky was too terrifying. The huge thundercloud vortex in the sky was like a black hole that could devour everything. Just a simple look at it made them feel like their divine souls were about to shatter. Not only them, but even the netherworld grand ancestor felt a chill run down his spine. His internal organs could not help but tremble. Go! Leave the area covered by his heavenly tribulation thundercloud. That person ordered in a low voice. After he finished speaking, he was the first to retreat because he could clearly sense how terrifying the lightning in the sky was. Even though he was at the end of the sky exalt level, he still felt a great sense of threat when he stood there. Want to leave? It's too late. Lin Tianling laughed. As soon as he finished speaking, there was a loud boom. In the sky, countless bolts of lightning immediately came crashing down. In an instant, tens of thousands of feet of lightning flooded the space within 10,000 miles, covering this part of the world. The tribulation lightning was like rain. As far as the eye could see, this could no longer be considered a single heavenly tribulation. It was completely a vast sea of lightning. Crack, crack, crack. The void collapsed and the earth shattered. Under this sea of lightning, the huge netherworld sacred hall was split into pieces in an instant, turning into debris. Let's enjoy this heavenly tribulation feast together. Lin Tianling laughed. Chapter 1319. The pitch-black thunderclouds stretched across the sky. Tens of thousands of bolts of lightning descended from the sky with the power to destroy all things. It was extremely oppressive. It was unknown how vast the area was covered by the thunderclouds. Every corner was filled with blood-colored lightning. It was horrifying. At this moment, Lin Tian no longer suppressed his cultivation realm and rushed into the heavenly venerable realm, directly attracting the heavenly venerable lightning punishment. Boom! Thunder roared through the 9 heavens, and lightning rained down from all directions, shattering everything. Ah! Screams rang out in an instant. Some powerful netherworld race ancestor kings were struck by the tribulation lightning. Their flesh and soul were destroyed at the same time, and their bodies and souls were destroyed on the spot. They could not withstand the heavenly venerable lightning punishment that originated from the reincarnation body. Damn it! You actually came here to undergo the heavenly venerable tribulation. Some netherworld race ancestor kings roared. Even the netherworld great ancestor, netherworld 3 ancestors, and the other heavenly venerable realm experts had ugly expressions. A few years ago, Lin Tian brought the Emperor's heavenly tribulation into the first territory of Netherworld in their sealed dust ancient region. He destroyed the first territory of Netherworld and killed countless Netherworld race experts. Now, after a few years, Lin Tian came again, bringing the heavenly venerable realm lightning punishment to their Netherworld sacred hall. This made them furious, and this action was simply too despicable. Can ordinary people see the heavenly venerable realm tribulation? I came from afar to invite you to see the heavenly venerable realm lightning punishment at a close distance. You should thank me. Lin Tian Ondao. You! The Netherworld race ancestor king's face turned ashen. He was frightened and angry, and he wanted to swallow Lin Tian alive. Lin Tian looked at this person and raised his hand. Suddenly, blood-red lightning rained down on this person. This was not because he could control the tribulation lightning, but because he was the one undergoing the tribulation. He could rely on his aura to guide the ordinary tribulation lightning to a certain extent. Boom! Numerous bolts of tribulation lightning struck the powerful Nether Ancestor King. Although this was the most ordinary tribulation lightning, it was still terrifying. After all, this was the most powerful heavenly venerable level lightning tribulation of the Reincarnation King physique. The psionic underworld ancestral king was shocked. He summoned all of his divine power to resist, but it was useless. He couldn't stop it at all. 09 small, say net no. Following a cry of despair, this person was struck by the concentrated blood-red lightning, and his body and soul were destroyed on the spot. Boom! Lightning surged, continuously hacking down, covering 10,000 li. This was the area where the Netherworld race's divine temple was located. Originally, the void and earth were extremely sturdy. However, at this time, under Lin Tian's Empyrean level lightning punishment, they became extremely fragile. Inch by inch, the void and earth were shattered. Ah! Miserable cries rang out once more. Under this type of lightning punishment, other Netherworld ancestral kings that were infinitely close to the Empyrean level suffered. At this time, the lightning that struck down was the most ordinary lightning punishment. However, to those below the heavenly venerate realm, it was undoubtedly devastating. No! Another scream of terror and despair rang out as a new Netherworld ancestral king met with calamity. His body was crushed under the lightning. Damn it! The Netherworld's 16 ancestors stared at Lin Tian, their faces full of shock and anger. In just a short while, 4 of their Netherworld ancestral kings that were infinitely close to the Empyrean level had died tragically. This loss was too great. One should know that these people, given time, had the possibility of entering the Empyrean level. Now, in just a short while, their clan had directly lost 4 seed Empyreans. Beast! Staring at Lin Tian, this person's eyes were full of murderous intent. At the same time, he was also doing his best to avoid the dense lightning. Even though he was a level 2 heavenly venerable, under the lightning punishment of the Reincarnation King physique, he could still suffer at any time. Those lightning bolts were too terrifying. Boom! Thunder rumbled, and the blood-red lightning continued to strike. In the next moment, it became even more terrifying, and there were more lightning rays in the sky. In the blink of an eye, the world became even darker. The area covered by the thunderclouds increased, covering an area of 20,000 miles. The dark thundercloud vortex above was like a black hole that was about to devour everything. Lin Tian was surrounded by lightning rays, like the god of thunder standing in the sea of lightning. There was a cold smile at the corner of his mouth. He looked at the sky, and a Baodan appeared in his hand. It was called the Fire Kirin Elixir, and it could temporarily increase his combat strength by 5 times. He directly swallowed it. Boom! In an instant, the aura on his body skyrocketed, and the heavenly venerable level pressure became several times stronger than before. The corner of his mouth lifted slightly. At this time, he tilted his head and looked at the Netherworld's 16 ancestors. Meeting his gaze, the Netherworld's 16 ancestors suddenly trembled, as if he was being stared at by the god of death. He could not help but take a step back. "What are you doing?" Lin Tianling smiled. With a shake of his feet, he passed through the sea of lightning as if he had teleported and appeared in front of the Netherworld's 16 ancestors. Now that he had truly broken through to the heavenly venerable level, his speed and combat strength were no longer comparable to before. The Netherworld's 16 ancestors trembled and stepped back again. Goodbye." Lin Tiandao pressed down with his palm. He intertwined the god transformation talisman in his palm. At the same time, as he approached, the surrounding blood-red lightning pressed down together. The Netherworld's 16 ancestors roared and supported the dense divine light. He cast a tyrannical magical power to meet Lin Tiandao's right hand, and at the same time resisted the blood-red lightning that struck down from all directions. However, they could not stop it at all. No! There was a scream, and the powerful Netherworld 16 ancestors exploded on the spot. The moment his divine soul escaped, it was enveloped by the god transformation talisman and crushed on the spot. Ancestor 16. At this place, the group of Netherworld 16 ancestors and the Netherworld 16 ancestors were all shocked. The Netherworld 16 ancestors, a true heavenly venerable, was actually killed by Lin Tiandao in an instant. Human, the Netherworld 3 ancestors roared. Their heavenly venerable divine powers surged, and their eyes were filled with rage. The Netherworld great ancestor smashed the bolts of lightning and blood-red lightning. There was a cold, murderous light in his eyes, and he was furious. The powerful Netherworld 16 ancestors, a true heavenly venerable of the Netherworld clan, was killed by Lin Tiandao just like that. Lin Tiandao was surrounded by lightning. He stepped into the sea of lightning and glanced at the Netherworld great ancestor and the Netherworld 3 ancestors with a cold smile on his face. Didn't I say more than 2 years ago that when I stepped into the heavenly venerable level, I would personally come to the Netherworld temple to visit all of you? He looked at the Netherworld great ancestor and the others and said, "Now, I have come as promised to send all of you to hell." As his words fell, there was a boom. Thunder exploded in the sky, and it became even more terrifying than before. In just a moment, more lightning struck down and destroyed the thunderclouds, covering a radius of more than 30,000 miles. Boom! Ear-piercing thunder roared, and an oppressive and destructive aura spread out in all directions. For a time, the entire sealed dust ancient region was trembling with fear. All the Netherworld clan cultivators were terrified. This aura, what happened? What is going on? Countless Netherworld clan cultivators were terrified. The sealed dust ancient region was vast and boundless, but at this moment, all the creatures in this world could feel an extremely oppressive aura. Especially the few territories closest to the Nether Saint Hall, all of them were endlessly terrified. Boom! Thunderclaps continued to roll like raging waves. Every thunderclap would cause a large area of space to collapse. Above the Netherworld temple, Lin Tiandao's body was intertwined with lightning. He swept a glance at the Netherworld clan cultivators in this place like a thunder god. "Today, none of you will survive," he said. As his words fell, he waved his hand across the air and used his origin aura to guide the lightning in this space. He guided it to strike the Netherworld clan's ancestral kings under the sea of lightning. These people here were the true core of the Netherworld clan. As long as these people were destroyed, the other world would no longer have to worry about the threat from this clan. Boom! Thunder and lightning burst. Guided by his origin aura, the dense tribulation lightning that fell from the sky seemed to have a mind of its own as it rapidly struck the Netherworld clan's ancestral kings. At the same time, this lightning also struck the Netherworld great ancestor, the Netherworld third ancestor, the 14th ancestor, and the 15th ancestor. Ah! Screams instantly sounded. In the face of the blood-red lightning that Lin Tiandao guided with his origin aura, the ordinary Netherworld clan's ancestral kings were as weak as tofu. In the blink of an eye, one of them died tragically. "Great ancestor, save us!" "No! Great ancestors, save us!" The group of Netherworld ancestral kings screamed out miserably as more and more people exploded. They wanted to escape from the range of the heavenly tribulation, but they couldn't do so. As the heavenly tribulation began, as the aura of the heavenly tribulation grew stronger, a terrifying lightning enchantment appeared around Lin Tian, interweaving within a 1,000-foot radius. Even an ordinary Empyrean-level powerhouse couldn't break through it. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen Netherworld clans' ancestral kings met with disaster. Under the tribulation lightning that Lin Tiandao deliberately guided, they exploded, their bodies and souls destroyed. "Bastard!" The 15th ancestor of the Netherworld roared, his eyes red. Only a moment had passed since Lin Tiandao attracted the heavenly tribulation. In this place, a total of 21 of the 34 Netherworld clan's ancestral kings had died. At the same time, a true heavenly venerate had died. Lin Tiandao tilted his head and looked at this person. The corner of his mouth curled into a sneer, and the mighty lightning that filled the sky directly attacked. The 15th ancestor of the Netherworld suddenly trembled. He walked toward Lin Tiandao, his internal organs turning cold. "Get out of my way!" he roared, and at the same time, he hurriedly retreated, afraid that Lin Tiandao would come close. This was because Lin Tiandao was the one undergoing the heavenly tribulation. At this time, he was the source of destruction. Wherever Lin Tiandao went, that place would become the center of destruction. Lin Tiandao laughed. He was very fast, and the mighty lightning that filled the sky moved. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of this person. "I'll send you to accompany your Netherworld clan's old 16," he said. With a rumble, he waved his hand, and the lightning that filled the sky came crashing down. At the same time, a god transformation talisman gathered in his palm and slammed toward this person. The 15th ancestor of the Netherworld was shocked and angry. He roared and supported all the divine power in his body to resist. Chapter 13:20. Thunder rumbled, and the surrounding space was pitch black. Bolts of lightning fell like rain, smashing everything in their path. Lin Tian intertwined the divine transformation talisman in his right hand and slammed it toward the Netherworld 15 ancestors along with the sky full of lightning. Don't even think about it. The Netherworld great ancestor and the other two closed in and surrounded Lin Tian in a triangular formation. While assisting the Netherworld 15 ancestors, they unleashed all kinds of killing lights at the same time, pressing down on Lin Tian. These were the attacks of several celestial venerables, especially the Netherworld Great Ancestor, who was at the peak of the celestial venerable realm. The combined killing lights were extremely terrifying and terrifying. Lin Tian slammed his right hand toward the Netherworld 15 ancestors and intertwined the divine transformation talisman. He glanced sideways at the Netherworld Great Ancestor and the others and sneered, not caring at all about their killing lights. It was also at this moment that an earth-shattering thunder rumbled in the sky. Above him, in the boundless thunderclouds, a huge lightning pillar with a diameter of more than 100 feet emerged. The first round of heavenly thunder of the celestial venerable thunder punishment struck at this moment. The terrifying aura of destruction instantly enveloped Lin Tian, the Netherworld 15 ancestors, the Netherworld 14 ancestors, and the Netherworld Great Ancestor. "I knew you three would jump over." "Very good." Lin Tian laughed. "Come, let's go through the tribulation together." As the one undergoing this heavenly tribulation, he knew very well when the first round of the heavenly tribulation would strike. He also knew that if he attacked the Netherworld 15 ancestors with a killing blow, the Netherworld Grand Ancestor, the 3 ancestors, and the 14 ancestors would come to help them. Therefore, he attacked the Netherworld 15 ancestors at the right time and lured the Netherworld Grand Ancestor and the others to him. Then, the first round of the heavenly tribulation struck at the right time, enveloping the Netherworld 15 ancestors, the Netherworld Grand Ancestor, and the others. "You tricked us?" The Netherworld Great Ancestors were furious. How could they not understand the meaning of Lin Tian's words? "You're the ones who tricked us?" Lin Tian Ondao. "You boom." Thunder shook the sky. The first round of heavenly thunder was extremely fast and arrived in the blink of an eye. The power of destruction enveloped all directions. No. The Netherworld 15 and the Netherworld 14 forefather were smashed into pieces on the spot. Their divine souls were destroyed as well. At the same time, half of the bodies of the 3 Netherworld ancestors exploded. The Netherworld Great Ancestor coughed out large mouthfuls of blood as he suffered heavy injuries. Lin Tian, on the other hand, was already prepared. The 4-symbol seal had already been activated, and in the instant that the lightning punishment was about to fall, A total of 5 layers of the four symbols Tao diagram protected his body. Combined with his fivefold battle prowess, he withstood the attack. Among the 5 powerhouses, he was the only one who was unscathed. Tisk. How miserable! Lightning surrounded his body as he glanced at the spot where the Netherworld 15th ancestor and the Netherworld 14th ancestor had exploded. His gaze then fell on the Netherworld Great Ancestor, who was coughing out blood, and the Netherworld 3rd ancestor, who had half of his body shattered. A mocking smile appeared on his face. Human, the 3 Netherworld ancestors roared with bloodshot eyes. This main heavenly lightning destroyed 2 of their clan's Empyrean-level powerhouses in a blink of an eye. Humph! Lin Tianlong smiled. Looking at this person, he took a step forward and directly swung the Chaos Emperor fist, mercilessly bombarding him. At the same time, as he moved, the lightning in the sky moved with him. All kinds of ferocious tribulation lightning struck down together. Poof! The 3 Netherworld ancestors did not even have time to form a complete body before they were smashed into pieces. Blood filled the sky. Ah! The 3 Netherworld ancestors roared angrily. Their minced flesh wriggled and erupted with a monstrous divine soul light. In the blink of an eye, their bodies were repaired. It was also at this moment that Lin Tian once again approached them with lightning in the sky. He raised his hand and threw out a heavy punch. With a boom, thunder and lightning intertwined. This punch directly shattered the space. The punch was intimidating. The 3 Netherworld ancestors raised their fists to meet Lin Tian's attack. Their fists were wrapped in shocking Netherworld light and collided directly with Lin Tian's fist. Suddenly, there was a crisp crack. The 3 Netherworld ancestors trembled violently. Their finger bones were directly shattered. Then, their fists exploded and their entire arm was torn into pieces. The cracks spread throughout their bodies. In the blink of an eye, cracks had appeared all over their bodies. Blood flowed out continuously like a spider web. Clang! At the same time, the sound of swords rang out. Lin Tian's other hand waved the high heaven sword scripture, and a 10-foot-long sword force slashed down. 09 little say net. This sword was a killing superpower in the high heaven sword scripture. The sword force was oppressive, and in the blink of an eye, it fell in front of the 3 Netherworld ancestors. The 3 Netherworld ancestors' bodies shook violently. They quickly retreated, but they could not because the sword light was too fast. Poof! The sword light fell and cut the 3 Netherworld ancestors into a cloud of blood mist. Boom! Thunder rumbled. In the sky, the second round of heavenly thunder began to brew. The aura of the heavenly tribulation became even more terrifying. In an instant, the tribulation lightning bolts falling from the sky became even denser, and their might became even sharper. Ah! Great Ancestor, save us! No! With shrill screams, 3 Netherworld ancestors were struck by the falling lightning, and their bodies and souls were destroyed on the spot. These lightning bolts were not the main lightning punishment of the heavenly tribulation. They were just ordinary tribulation lightning, but their power was still terrifying. No one below the heavenly venerate level could withstand them. Ah! Another Netherworld ancestor who was infinitely close to the heavenly venerate level was struck by 8 consecutive lightning bolts and died on the spot. Lin Tian glanced at the sky. His gaze fell on the spot where the 3 Netherworld ancestors had exploded. He took a step forward. Clang! Sword light clanged. Dense towering heaven sword force appeared around him and slashed at the 3 Netherworld ancestors. At this time, the 3 Netherworld ancestors had not condensed their bodies. Sensing Lin Tian's sword light, they wrapped their broken flesh with their souls and retreated quickly. At the same time, they quickly repaired their bodies and condensed their bodies. At the same time, the Netherworld Great Ancestor charged over. Naturally, he could not watch Lin Tian kill the 3 Netherworld ancestors. Get out of the way, Lin Tian Dao. He raised his hand and guided a large amount of tribulation lightning with his origin aura. He directly struck the Netherworld Great Ancestor who was charging over. In an instant, hundreds of tribulation lightning bolts fell on the Netherworld Great Ancestor together. The Netherworld Great Ancestor stopped in his tracks and resisted the lightning. These lightning bolts were not weak at all. They were a threat even to those at the end of the heavenly venerate level. Clang! The sound of the sword was ear-piercing. At this time, Lin Tian closed in on the three Netherworld ancestors and slashed 9 towering heaven sword force at the same time. The 3 Netherworld ancestors had just condensed their bodies at this time. They met the 9 killing swords head-on with their great divine powers. The two collided and burst out with monstrous divine light. In the next moment, the great divine powers of the 3 Netherworld ancestors collapsed. The 9 towering heavens sword force also trembled. 8 of the swords were destroyed, but one of them survived and slashed at the 3 Netherworld ancestors. Puff! Dazzling heavenly venerable level blood splattered everywhere as the sword pierced straight through the 3rd elder's chest, blasting a large, transparent, bloody hole in his chest. Even his heart was shattered, which was a ghastly sight. The 3 Netherworld ancestors coughed up large mouthfuls of blood mixed with pieces of the heart. They staggered back in the sea of lightning. Lin Tianling smiled and stepped forward, closing in on them in an instant. Bam! He waved the Chaos Emperor fist, transforming it into a true dragon and immortal phoenix, enveloping the 3 Netherworld ancestors. After a year of seclusion in the immortal Emperor Pagoda to comprehend various divine powers and secret techniques, he had comprehended the Chaos Emperor fist to a higher level. At this moment, the power of the Chaos Emperor fist was on full display. It was as if a part of the starry sky was crashing down, shattering all the tribulation lightning around him. The terrifying power made one's heart tremble. The 3 Netherworld ancestors' bodies burst out with astonishing Netherworld light. They used one of the great divine powers of the Netherworld tribe to meet the attack head-on. In the blink of an eye, the two collided again. Swish! 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 Soft sounds were heard. The divine powers of the 3 Netherworld ancestors were destroyed one by one. Lin Tianling's Chaos Emperor fist was not weak at all. In the blink of an eye, it broke through everything and landed on the 3 Netherworld ancestors' chest. Puff! The 3 Netherworld ancestors exploded on the spot. Blood splattered everywhere. They used their divine souls to wrap their flesh and bones and retreated in a sorry state. Lin Tianling looked at the 3 Netherworld ancestors and took a step forward, raising his fist and punching. The Netherworld ancestors' divine souls trembled. They quickly condensed a physical body and used their divine powers to meet the attack. The laws of the Great Path were displayed together. Boom! 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 The two clashed violently. In just a moment, they had collided hundreds of times. In the end, with a loud bang, the 3 Netherworld ancestors were swept away. More than half of their bodies were shattered, and their divine souls were severely injured. Damn it! I'm already a 7th level Celestial Lord. You've just become a Celestial Lord. How can you hurt me again and again? This is impossible. Impossible. That person could not help but roar. He was a 7th level Celestial Lord, 6 levels higher than Lin Tianling. Yet, he could not stop Lin Tianling at all. Lin Tianling's body was surrounded by lightning. He had a mocking look on his face as he stepped forward. Who do you think I am? The strongest Imperial body? Are you just kidding? From the airborne realm to the Celestial Lord level, I struggled to break free from the heavenly tribulations time and time again. Do you think I went through all those heavenly tribulations for nothing? He said. He had the strongest reincarnation Imperial body. His combat strength was far superior to other cultivators of the same level. Since he started cultivating, he had gone through 7 devastating heavenly tribulations in a row, so his combat strength was even stronger. Now, in order to resist the Celestial Lord's thunder punishment, he had swallowed the Fire Kirin pill, which could increase his combat strength by 5 times. His combat strength had skyrocketed. His overall strength was not weaker than that of the Netherworld Great Ancestors and was even a little stronger. How could the 3 Netherworld Ancestors, who were only 7th level Celestial Lords, be a match for him? The three netherworld ancestors gritted their teeth. Their eyes were full of viciousness. They quickly distanced themselves from Lin Tianling while quickly repairing their bodies. Humph! Lin Tianling's eyes were cold. At this time, the ninth level yin and yang steps was performed, and at that moment, he came in front of that person in an instant. The three netherworld ancestors trembled, shocked by Lin Tianling's terrifying speed. You die. Chapter 13:21. After a year of seclusion, Lin Tian had cultivated the divination divine art to a very high level. At this time, he displayed the divination divine elephants to suppress the netherworld's three ancestors. The terrifying destructive power instantly crushed everything in the surroundings. The netherworld's three ancestors trembled. In the face of the suppression of more than 10 divination divine elephants, they immediately felt the threat of death. They roared in horror and supported themselves with all their strength. The Great Path Law and Killing Divine Arts were displayed at the same time, and the light covered all directions. However, compared to Lin Tian's divination divine art, this kind of resistance seemed a little weak and was crushed in the blink of an eye. With a rumble, more than 10 divination divine elephants pressed down at the same time. No! The netherworld's three ancestors were terrified and desperate. They were directly overwhelmed by the divination divine elephants, and their bodies and souls exploded together. Their bodies and souls were destroyed. Third brother? In the distance, the netherworld's great ancestor's body trembled violently when he saw the dense tribulation lightning and collapsed. Human! He roared, and his eyes were red. 2 years ago, his netherworld clan's 11 heavenly venerables crossed over to the other side, and all of them died in battle. Now his netherworld clan's remaining 5 heavenly venerables were killed in the blink of an eye by Lin Tian, and he was the only one left. Don't worry, I'll send you to see them right away. Lin Tian looked at the man and said. Wisps of lightning surrounded his body as he stepped forward and strode toward the netherworld's great ancestor. As he moved, the lightning and thunder in the sky became mighty and mighty on the spot, chasing after him. The scene was a little frightening. Ah! A scream rang out as he strode toward the netherworld's great ancestor. Not far from the netherworld's great ancestor, a netherworld ancestor who was infinitely close to the heavenly venerable level, was affected and was instantly shattered by the tribulation lightning. He died tragically on the spot. Lin Tian didn't care about this at all. He used the yin-yang steps and instantly arrived in front of the netherworld's great ancestor. Boom! As soon as he arrived in front of the netherworld great ancestor, a thunderous roar erupted in the sky. The second round of heavenly thunder had finished brewing at this moment. A dense thunder palace appeared and pressed down mightily. The netherworld great ancestor suddenly trembled. Even though he was at the peak of the Empyrean level, he still felt a chill run down his back when he saw this terrifying lightning. He gritted his teeth as he glared at Lin Tian, his eyes filled with murderous intent. He couldn't wait to tear Lin Tian to shreds, but at this time, he didn't hesitate at all. He immediately retreated and quickly put some distance between him and Lin Tian. Now Lin Tian was the one undergoing this heavenly tribulation, the center of destruction of this heavenly tribulation. At this time, if he was near Lin Tian, the second round of heavenly punishment would kill him as well. Why should we retreat? Didn't you say that a first-level Empyrean like me was nothing? Why are you retreating now? Lin Tiandao. His voice was very calm, but there was obvious sarcasm in it as it floated in the ears of the netherworld great ancestor. The netherworld great ancestor's face suddenly became uglier. The murderous intent in his eyes was very strong, but he retreated even faster. Humph! Lin Tianling laughed. He displayed the 9th level of the yin and yang steps and instantly caught up with the netherworld great ancestor. At the same time, his right hand shook and 3 killing array platforms appeared. In the blink of an eye, dense eternal killing runes were intertwined and sealed the netherworld great ancestor within. Suddenly, a terrifying murderous intent surged. Dense killing lights appeared at the first moment and slashed toward the netherworld great ancestor. These were the eternal killing array platforms that he had prepared for the Empyrean tribulation. At this time, 3 of them appeared together, and the dense killing lights slashed toward the netherworld great ancestor. The momentum was not weak, and even the powerful netherworld great ancestor dared not be careless. The most important thing was that with the appearance of the 3 eternal killing array platforms, the netherworld great ancestor was directly restrained and could no longer retreat. Let's go through the heavenly tribulation together again. Lin Tiandao. As soon as he finished speaking, the thunder roared even more violently. The second round of heavenly thunder fell near at this moment, directly drowning him and the netherworld great ancestor. Suddenly, the aura of destruction was vast and mighty. It was much more powerful than the first round of heavenly punishment. It was incomparable. Crack, crack, crack. Around them the space collapsed. The second round of heavenly punishment exploded. The light of thunder covered all directions, and even the vision was blocked. It was not until 10 breaths later that the light dissipated, and the surroundings became clear. Human, the netherworld great ancestor was restrained by the 3 eternal killing arrays. At the same time, he was bombarded by the second round of heavenly punishment. His body was badly damaged, and in many places, even the bones could be seen. He had suffered unimaginable damage. 09 Small, said Net. You are worthy of being a person who has reached the end of the Empyrean realm. You were killed by the heavenly punishment and the killing array at the same time, but your body was not broken. Lin Tian sneered. He was standing a few feet away from the netherworld great ancestor. His body was covered in golden light, and he was intact. Previously, he had used the 3 eternal killing arrays to trap and kill the netherworld great ancestor. At the same time, he had also propped up a strong killing power to protect the netherworld great ancestor. With his own strength, he had perfectly blocked the second round of heavenly punishment. The netherworld great ancestor coughed up blood. He was shocked and angry at the same time. He stared at Lin Tian with a face full of killing intent, like an awakened ancient fierce beast. Lin Tian looked at this person and smiled coldly. Without the slightest hesitation, he directly used the yin and yang steps to attack. As he moved, the dense blood-red thunder moved with him. The center of destruction of the heavenly punishment moved with him. In the blink of an eye, it was in front of the netherworld great ancestor. Without any mercy, it directly attacked with the Chaos Emperor Fist. With a bang, the void was smashed on the spot. The power of the Chaos Emperor Fist at the heavenly venerable level was appalling. At the same time, as he attacked with the Chaos Emperor Fist, the tribulation thunder and lightning falling from the sky became more turbulent. They moved with the momentum of his fist and struck toward the netherworld great ancestor. Crack! The void was shattered on the spot. It was penetrated, revealing dense cracks. This was a terrible heavy punch. It was so strong that even a stage 9 heavenly venerable like the netherworld great ancestor trembled. Nether Seal! This person growled. He did not even have time to heal his injured body. He directly raised his hand and waved a great magic to meet Lin Tian's punch. In the blink of an eye, the two collided and exploded into a sky full of divine rainbow light. Puff! Puff! The 2 nearby netherworld great ancestors suffered a great disaster. Under the collision of the 2, their bodies and souls were destroyed on the spot. This was a confrontation between heavenly venerables. Those below the heavenly venerable level could not bear it. Seeing this scene, the netherworld great ancestor was shocked and angry. His netherworld clan had lost 2 more netherworld great ancestors. Damn it, he could not help but roar. Not long ago, this netherworld sacred hall had 5 heavenly venerable powerhouses and more than 30 netherworld great ancestors who were infinitely close to the heavenly venerable realm. Now, in just a moment, only 1 heavenly venerable powerhouse and 4 netherworld great ancestors were left. Ah! He roared. Although his cultivation was at stage 9, heavenly venerable, and his state of mind was incomparably strong. He could not help but tremble at this moment. 4 heavenly venerable powerhouses had died, and only 4 of the Netherworld great ancestors were left. His Netherworld clan's current core combat strength had been lost in a moment. This made him almost crazy with anger. Lin Tianling smiled. The Chaos Emperor fist shook, and the fist momentum was even more powerful. With a bang, the Netherworld great ancestor was forced back several feet. Then, in the next moment, he stepped on the 9th level of the yin and yang steps. In the blink of an eye, he was close to the Netherworld great ancestor and punched him again. Boom! This punch was still the Chaos Emperor fist. The true dragon and immortal phoenix intertwined together, and the sky full of murderous light was vast and mighty. The Netherworld great ancestor could not dodge or resist in time. He was hit by this punch, and half of his body directly exploded. Human! The Netherworld great ancestor roared, and the Netherworld light surged in the sky. In the blink of an eye, his body was repaired. He attacked again, using an even more terrifying supernatural power, and directly bombarded Lin Tianling. This kind of murderous light was terrifying and intimidating. It was absolutely easy to kill an 8th-stage heavenly venerable. Humph! Lin Tianling smiled and did not care. He waved the Chaos Emperor fist, and the true dragon and immortal phoenix appeared again, bombarding the Netherworld great ancestor. At the same time, with a single thought, a total of 7 eternal killing array platforms appeared. Swift and fierce eternal killing marks instantly covered every corner within a radius of 1,000 feet, trapping the Netherworld great ancestor. The killing light that filled the sky pressed down together with the primal Chaos Emperor fist. In the blink of an eye, the two collided again, and the sky full of divine light and Netherworld light roared. Cough! The Netherworld great ancestor coughed up blood and flew away. Half of his body was shattered again. On the other side, Lin Tianling took a step back, and a trace of blood overflowed from the corner of his mouth. As expected of a 9th-stage heavenly venerable, compared to a 7th-stage heavenly venerable, you are much stronger. Lin Tianling smiled. As he said this, he looked at the dense thunderclouds in the sky, and his eyes fell on the Netherworld great ancestor again. His feet shook, and he used the 9th-stage yin-yang steps, turning into a bolt of lightning and attacking again. With a whoosh, he carried the sky full of thunder and appeared in front of the Netherworld great ancestor again in an instant. Kill! He shouted coldly and waved the Chaos Emperor fist again. A true dragon that was 1,000 feet long appeared, and its power was terrifying. The Netherworld great ancestor stabilized his body, and his eyes were red. He quickly repaired his broken body and cast a great magic to meet the attack. In the blink of an eye, the two collided, and the sky was full of divine light. Cough! The Netherworld great ancestor coughed up blood and was at a disadvantage, and he was sent flying again. Lin Tianling smiled and did not stop. He stepped in front of the Netherworld great ancestor and directly punched the Netherworld great ancestor's jaw. With a bang, the Netherworld great ancestor was sent flying into the sky. At this time, the thunderclouds in the sky let out a shocking roar, and the third round of heavenly punishment appeared. The entire sea of thunder and lightning was extremely fast, and it pressed down in an instant. The Netherworld great ancestor was sent flying into the sky by Lin Tianling. At this moment, he felt a chill down his spine, and his divine soul trembled. At this moment, he was in the center of the third round of heavenly punishment, and he was the closest to it. This round of terrifying heavenly punishment, which was originally aimed at Lin Tianling, would be the first to hit him. Damn human, you did it on purpose. He was shocked and angry. At this time, he was bombarded into the sky by Lin Tianling with the strength of a heavenly venerable. It was difficult for him to stabilize his body, and it was difficult for him to even cast a defensive technique. I'll send you to the sky to see the heavenly venerable level heavenly punishment up close. You're welcome. Lin Tianling smiled. With a move of his mind, The killing patterns of the 7 eternal killing arrays all lit up, and endless killing lights surged out, protecting him layer by layer. At the same time, the third round of heavenly punishment pressed down even faster, and in an instant, it submerged the Netherworld Great Ancestor. Ah! The Netherworld Great Ancestor screamed as he was instantly smashed into pieces, and blood splattered everywhere. Then this round of heavenly punishment continued to press down, and Lin Tianling was also submerged. Chapter 13:22. The third round of the main lightning punishment fell, drowning everything. Every inch of the space was filled with a destructive aura. Chi, chi, chi. Criss-cracking sounds rang out. The 7 eternal killing arrays that protected Lin Tian were all crushed in the blink of an eye. Lin Tian's eyes narrowed slightly. He quickly formed a seal and activated the 4-symbol seal. The silver array diagram quickly met the attack. Boom! The third round of the main lightning punishment fell on the 4-symbol seal and then exploded. In just an instant, the ground within a radius of thousands of feet was torn apart, turning into absolute ruins. Smoke and lightning covered the surroundings. It was not until dozens of breaths later that the space became clear again. Lin Tian stood on the broken ground. His clothes were undamaged, and there was a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. Even someone as powerful as him, who was a reincarnated heavenly venerable level body of reincarnation, who had multiplied his battle prowess by 5 times, and who had used the 7 eternal killing array platforms and the 4-symbol seal to resist, was still slightly injured by this round of main lightning punishment. This is only the third round. How many more rounds are there left? How scary is it? He muttered to himself. The sky was dark. He looked up at the dense thunderclouds in the sky. At this time, there was a huge pressure. Boom! Not far away, a powerful netherworld divine power rushed up. The figure of the netherworld Great Ancestor appeared. His face was pale, and the aura exuding from his body was more than 10 times weaker than before. Lin Tian tilted his head and looked. As expected of a level 9 heavenly venerable, he took that kind of lightning punishment head-on, without any defense, and survived. Not bad. He said this, but there was not a trace of surprise on his face or in his eyes. He knew very well that a level 9 heavenly venerable would not be struck to death so easily. The Netherworld Great Ancestor's cultivation was very strong, and his state of mind was very profound. But now, after being injured by Lin Tian again and again, his profound state of mind had completely collapsed. At this moment, he stared at Lin Tian with eyes full of anger. He wanted to tear Lin Tian apart. Despicable thing. He stared at Lin Tian and clenched his fists. Lin Tian had accurately calculated the timing and actually used his heavenly venerable level strength to send him right in front of the third round of heavenly punishment. He was almost directly hacked to death by the third round of heavenly punishment. Despicable? I hope you call it wisdom. Lin Tiandao. As soon as he finished speaking, he used the duality steps and arrived in front of the Netherworld Great Ancestor in a single step. The Chaos Emperor fist directly pressed down. Dong! The powerful punch caused the void to rumble on the spot and shatter into pieces. The Netherworld Great Ancestor raised his palm to meet the attack. The Netherworld light was sharp and fierce, and the palm force was very oppressive. In the blink of an eye, their fists and palms collided. Pooh! Blood splattered in all directions as the Netherworld Grand Ancestor's arm shattered on the spot. He was sent flying by Lin Tian's fist and was flung far away. At the same time, a few more screams rang out in this sea of lightning. As the densely packed bolts of lightning struck down, the last few Netherworld ancestral kings of the Netherworld race were unable to withstand them. They were all struck to death by the tribulation, lightning one after another. Lin Tian did not care about these Netherworld ancestral kings at all. He stared at the Netherworld Great Ancestor and directly stepped toward him. Dong! At this moment, the sky shook and the fourth round of heavenly punishment appeared. The entire world became oppressive because of it. In the pitch-black thunder clouds, a black thunder dragon appeared. It was at least 10,000 feet long and looked as if it was real. The destructive aura made people's hearts palpitate, as if it was going to destroy everything between heaven and earth. With the appearance of this thunder dragon, the area covered by the heavenly punishment became even larger in an instant. It almost covered the space of 100,000 miles, and the destructive aura was several times stronger than before. Lin Tian's body trembled slightly. He immediately stopped and looked up at the sky. The fourth round of heavenly punishment appeared and made him feel a great deal of pressure. Boom! The black thunder dragon rolled in the sky, and thunder intertwined. The oppressive aura covered the sky and the earth, making people's hearts tremble. Such a terrifying heavenly punishment made the netherworld great ancestor, a stage 9 heavenly master, tremble involuntarily. He quickly moved away and distanced himself from Lin Tian, who was undergoing the tribulation. Obviously, he did not want to be affected by this heavenly punishment. Lin Tian glanced at the netherworld great ancestor and then looked back at the sky again. This round of heavenly punishment was a little scary. At this time, he no longer had the spare energy to chase after the netherworld great ancestor. He immediately circulated the Heart Sutra of Sun even faster. His essence, chi, and spirit reached the peak in an instant and focused all of it on resisting the heavenly punishment. Boom! Thunder rumbled, and the pitch-black thunder dragon trembled in the sky. In the next moment, it rushed down mightily. Lin Tian's body trembled slightly. The heavenly sword scripture and the four-symbol seal opened together and faced the pitch-black thunder dragon. Dong! It was also at this moment that the instant the fourth round of heavenly punishment descended, a blood-red lightning phoenix emerged from the thundercloud vortex in the sky. The fifth round of heavenly punishment condensed and appeared. Together with the fourth round of heavenly punishment, it struck down together with the fifth round of heavenly punishment. In the blink of an eye, the lightning drowned everything. Chi! 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 Lin Tian's heavenly sword scripture and the four-symbol seal were instantly shattered. The lightning was unparalleled and directly drowned them. He gritted his teeth and supported dozens of divine elephants to protect his body in the sea of lightning. At the same time, he bombarded the heavenly punishment with the Chaos Emperor fist. However, 2 rounds of heavenly punishment fell together in a row. The power was very frightening. Even though he had now multiplied his combat strength by 5 times and cultivated all kinds of secret techniques to an extremely profound level, it was still very difficult to resist. Blood sputtered from time to time. Part of his samsara battle body was shattered by the heavenly punishment thunder. Far away, the netherworld great ancestor could naturally feel the horror of the 2 rounds of heavenly punishment. At this time, he watched as Lin Tian's body was shattered inch by the heavenly punishment thunder. All kinds of different lights intertwined in his eyes. He hoped that Lin Tian would be directly killed by the heavenly punishment thunder, but he also hoped that Lin Tian would not die in such a heavenly punishment thunder. He hoped that Lin Tian would be killed because Lin Tian had come with a heavenly venerate level heavenly punishment and destroyed 90% of the core combat strength of the netherworld race. This was a great hatred. Lin Tian's death would naturally vent his anger. Moreover, Lin Tian was very strong. If he successfully survived the heavenly punishment thunder without being killed, he did not have absolute confidence that he could suppress Lin Tian. On the other hand, he did not want Lin Tian to die. Naturally, if Lin Tian died, he would not be able to obtain the origin of samsara. That would be a great regret. For a moment, the strongest person of the netherworld race, a 9th-stage heavenly venerate existence, had extremely complicated feelings. Boom! Thunder roared and shook all directions. Under the heavenly punishment thunder, the ground crumbled inch by inch. The 4th and 5th rounds of heavenly punishment thunder drowned Lin Tian. At this time, they exploded together and destroyed all directions. Lin Tian's body was shattered. Pieces of flesh and bones splattered on every inch of the ground around him. It was very glaring. However, he naturally did not die. The pieces of flesh and bones vibrated, and blood-red flames surged out. The sun's nirvana technique operated on its own. The pieces of flesh, bones, and blood quickly gathered together. In just a moment, a new body was formed. After forming a new body, his face was much paler than before. He looked at the sky and panted slightly. The fourth and fifth rounds of heavenly punishment thunder came down together. That power was too terrifying. It was nearly 10 times stronger than the previous 3 rounds of heavenly punishment thunder combined. Under the combined attack of these 2 rounds of heavenly punishment, he was seriously injured. Although his physical body had been repaired, the situation inside was very bad. Cracks had appeared on his spiritual soul, and his origin had dimmed a little. This is not good. He gritted his teeth. He now had 5 times his combat strength, but he was seriously injured under the 4th and 5th rounds of heavenly punishment thunder. This was a very bad sign, because the next heavenly punishment thunder that came down would definitely be far more terrifying than the 4th and 5th rounds of heavenly punishment thunder. Resisting the 4th and 5th rounds of heavenly punishment thunder was already so difficult. How would the next heavenly punishment thunder be like? It was very ominous. Boom! Thunder roared and shook all directions. The entire sky trembled. In the sky, in the pitch-black thundercloud vortex, the 6th round of heavenly punishment thunder appeared at this moment, and destructive power overflowed. Lin Tian was immediately moved. The 4th and 5th rounds of heavenly punishment thunder had only passed a few breaths, but the 6th round of heavenly punishment thunder actually came down, not giving him any time to catch his breath. Damn it! He cursed in his heart. The Sun Heart Sutra operated to the limit and directly took out the reincarnation diagram to resist. The reincarnation diagram was his king's territory. It rose majestically and was displayed with his current 5 times battle strength. Its aura was astonishing. However, the 6th round of heavenly punishment thunder was too terrifying. The reincarnation diagram was instantly destroyed. Then, the terrifying lightning directly landed on his body, shattering it again. Blood, flesh, and bones splattered all over the sky. At the same time, the land within a radius of 100,000 miles completely collapsed. There was not a single inch of intact land. Shattered flesh and bones floated in the air, a shocking sight. Buzz! Blood-red flames surged out from these pieces of flesh and bones. Lin Tian's physical body was shattered, but his spirit was not destroyed. The Sun Heart Sutra circulated, causing his flesh and bones to gather together in the blink of an eye. His physique was quickly reformed. Cough! He had just reformed his physical body when he coughed out a mouthful of blood essence. His body staggered and almost fell to the ground. The 6th round of heavenly punishment thunder almost took his life. At this time, he had repaired his physical body, but the situation inside was even worse. Many of his internal organs were shattered, and it was difficult to repair them in a short period of time. The cracks on his spirit body had increased, and his life essence had become even dimmer. He looked up at the sky. Thunder rumbled, and the destructive aura became even more terrifying. He gritted his teeth and quickly circulated the Sun Heart Sutra and the Sun Nirvana technique to quickly repair his injured body. He had no energy to care about anything else. Soon, dozens of breaths passed, and his essence, energy, and spirit recovered slightly. It was also at this time that the roar of thunder shook the sky and rumbled. Dong! In the sky, an even more terrifying lightning tribulation appeared. Dense lightning interweaved together and evolved into tens of thousands of lightning mountains. Each lightning mountain was tens of thousands of feet tall. They were majestic and magnificent, and their aura was fierce and their destructive power was shocking. The 7th round of heavenly punishment thunder struck down at this moment. Facing this round of heavenly punishment thunder, Lin Tian's entire body instantly turned cold. He hurriedly pushed his combat strength to the limit. Chapter 13:23. Tens of thousands of mountains formed by lightning appeared. Each of them was majestic to the extreme. As soon as they appeared, they emitted an incomparably terrifying fluctuation. The destructive and oppressive aura instantly spread out and pressed down mightily. Such a mighty aura made even the netherworld great ancestor, who was a ninth-stage heavenly venerable, tremble. His eyes revealed a horrified expression. Boom! The seventh round of heavenly tribulation pressed down. The mountains formed by lightning crushed everything. Under such heavenly tribulation, Lin Tian could only feel his internal organs becoming ice-cold. The threat of death became even more intense. He gritted his teeth, and with a shake of his right hand, 10 killing array platforms appeared consecutively. Under his will, they trembled, interweaving with each other to form a large seal. All of them were extremely powerful defensive array runes that he had inscribed before coming to the sealed dust ancient region. Buzz! The 10 directional defensive formation runes stacked layer after layer, protecting him within. It was also at this time that the 7th round of heavenly tribulation arrived. Tens of thousands of lightning mountains directly drowned everything. Crack, crack, crack. The void collapsed, and the ground was shattered again. Magma had already gushed out from many places. The 10 defensive formations that Lin Tian had brought out shone brightly. However, in front of the tens of thousands of lightning mountains, they appeared somewhat resplendent. The densely packed formation patterns trembled. In the next moment, they were unable to endure any longer and crumbled bit by bit. In the blink of an eye, the 10 powerful defensive arrays collapsed together. The tens of thousands of lightning mountains' power was no longer as terrifying as before. However, it was not that much weaker. Lin Tian formed a seal. His entire body's golden divine light burst out. Once again, the reincarnation diagram was propped up and majestically faced the lightning. In the blink of an eye, the reincarnation diagram and the lightning mountains collided. Boom! An astonishing explosion sounded. Dense lightning interweaved. The ground collapsed and then turned into dust in the blink of an eye. The reincarnation diagram was shattered. Out of the tens of thousands of lightning mountains, there were only 9 left. They all fell on Lin Tian's body. With a boom, Lin Tian was smashed into the ground. The entire sealed dust ancient region shook as if the end of the world had arrived. At this time, the 7th round of heavenly tribulation had passed. The pitch-black thunderclouds in the sky rolled and became much quieter. The netherworld grand ancestor stood far away, healing his injuries while looking at the center of the heavenly tribulation. In that place, Lin Tian had been smashed into the ground by the lightning mountain. He hadn't risen for a long time, and even his aura couldn't be felt. Dead? No, he's not dead, he muttered to himself as he looked up at the sky. At this moment, the sky was still pitch black, and the thundercloud vortex was still there, showing no signs of disappearing. Since the heavenly tribulation showed no signs of disappearing, Lin Tian must still be alive. Boom! At the center of the heavenly tribulation, the broken surface of the earth trembled. A golden beam of light shot up, almost piercing into the universe. Lin Tian emerged from the ground. His body was covered in cracks, and he was gasping for breath. Blood continuously flowed out of his mouth. He had withstood the 7th round of lightning punishment, but his injuries had become even more severe. His internal organs had been shattered even more severely, and there were even more cracks on his soul body. His source energy had also become even dimmer. He took a deep breath and quickly circulated the nirvana of the sun technique. Combined with a few 9th-grade bowed-in, he quickly healed his injured body. For a moment, the golden divine light outside his body gradually became denser, and his injuries were quickly healed. It was also at this moment that another thunderbolt rang out in the sky, and the entire sky became even darker. The huge thundercloud vortex trembled and suddenly split open. The 8th round of lightning punishment emerged, and it was a terrifying rain of thunder and lightning. The moment it appeared, it pressed down, not giving Lin Tian any time to react. Lin Tian gritted his teeth and didn't dare to be careless. His entire body was covered in golden divine light, and he immediately circulated the Heart Sutra of Sun to the limit. Then, he quickly formed a seal with both hands, and the Great Path Law immediately surged out and hit the sky. His Great Path Law was hazy, but it was very vast and powerful. As soon as it appeared, it shook the sky and forcibly destroyed a large amount of thunder and lightning. Not far away, the Netherworld Great Ancestors' eyes narrowed. What kind of Tao is this? This ninth-stage heavenly venerable of the Netherworld clan was shocked and puzzled. He could feel the power of the Great Path Law that Lin Tian had summoned, but he couldn't identify what kind of Great Path it was. He racked his brains and couldn't figure it out. At the center of the heavenly tribulation, Lin Tian used all his strength and the Great Path Law to the limit. This was because he could clearly feel the horror of the 8th round of lightning punishment. It was impossible for ordinary magical secret techniques to block this round of lightning punishment. Hiss, hiss, hiss. He used the nameless Great Path Law to shatter the thunder and lightning. The space around him trembled and distorted because of his Great Path Law. However, in the next moment, the sky shook again, and another thunderbolt exploded. In the thundercloud vortex, dozens of human-shaped lightning appeared. Each of the human-shaped lightning was intertwined with an extremely terrifying aura. Each of the human-shaped lightning seemed to be able to kill a heavenly venerable with a raise of their hand. The 9th round of lightning punishment. Lin Tian's expression suddenly changed, and he couldn't help but grit his teeth. Damn it! He cursed in his heart. The 8th round of lightning punishment had just fallen, and the 9th round of lightning punishment pressed down on him. Most importantly, the moment the 9th round of lightning punishment appeared, he had a very bad feeling in his heart. That was, this heavenly venerable level lightning punishment would definitely not last for 9 rounds. Boom! Thunder and lightning rolled in the sky, and the 9th round of lightning punishment struck down. Dozens of human-shaped lightning bolts seemed to have their own consciousness as they pounced on Lin Tian together. Lin Tian gritted his teeth, and the golden light around his body became more intense. The reincarnation diagram propped up and directly merged with the nameless Great Path Law, condensing into his strongest reincarnation diagram of the Great Path. With the reincarnation diagram of the Great Path above his head, his entire body was bathed in lightning. He stepped into the sky and directly faced the descending lightning. Thump, thump, thump. He bombarded it with the reincarnation diagram of the Great Path, and at the same time, he waved the Chaos Emperor fist. Punch after punch. It was like the beating of a sacred drum. This kind of battle aura was very tyrannical and very frightening. However, at this time, the 8th and 9th rounds of lightning punishment were even more frightening. The dense tribulation lightning pressed down like rain, and the dozens of human-shaped lightning bolts were even more frightening. In the blink of an eye, his flesh was split open, and his bones were shattered. His entire body was sent flying thousands of feet away, and blood stained his body red. Far away, the Netherworld Great Ancestors' heart trembled. Such a lightning punishment bombardment made even someone as powerful as him feel a sense of fear. Boom! The sky trembled, and thunder roared. In the pitch-black sky, the 10th round of lightning punishment appeared. It was a group of lightning beasts, and every one of them was frightening. The moment they appeared, the 10th round of lightning punishment pressed down directly, and the dense beasts instantly crushed everything. Lin Tian stabilized his body in the lightning. At this time, his body trembled violently, and his expression changed. He could not help but grit his teeth. There are indeed more than 9 rounds. At this moment, his back instantly became ice cold, and his internal organs involuntarily produced a sharp pain. However, there was no trace of fear in his eyes, because fear did not have the slightest effect. The reincarnation diagram of the Great Path above his head and the Sun Heart Sutra circulated even faster. As he waved the Chaos Emperor fist, he used the divining divine skill and the Heaven Ascending Sword Sutra. The pressure caused the void to collapse and everything to shatter. The battle aura outside his body was frightening, and he charged in the heavenly tribulation, shattering the lightning bolts one after another. He fought the human-shaped lightning bolts head-on and slashed the dense lightning beasts. Golden divine light interweaved in every corner of this space. However, the 3 rounds of lightning punishment struck together, and the power was naturally very frightening. He charged in the 3 rounds of lightning punishment, and blood splattered everywhere. His body was covered in cracks, and he was like a porcelain that could break at any time. His entire body was dyed red with blood. Thump! The void trembled, and the thunder exploded again. The sky became darker, and the area covered by the heavenly tribulation became wider. The earth of the sealed dust ancient region could not help but tremble. In the thundercloud vortex, the 11th round of the heavenly tribulation came out in the form of a huge lightning ball, like a meteorite. The lightning ball was more than 130 feet in diameter, and the aura of destruction intertwined with it was terrifying. It pressed down on Lin Tian, and wherever it passed, the void was annihilated inch by inch. Before it even landed, the earth had already begun to sink. This scene was undoubtedly terrifying, and it caused the netherworld great ancestor to tremble uncontrollably in the distance. Who could withstand such a heavenly tribulation? This is the legendary strongest physique. Is it really the jealousy of the heavens? The netherworld great ancestor trembled, and his scalp went numb. In the face of such a lightning punishment, even if he was a level 9 heavenly venerable, he did not think that he could withstand it. If he faced it head-on, he would definitely die. Boom! Thunder rumbled, and the 11th round of lightning punishment pressed down on Lin Tian's head in the blink of an eye. It pressed down with the other 3 rounds of lightning punishment. Lin Tian gritted his teeth and used all his strength to support the Great Path reincarnation diagram to meet it. With a swoosh, the Great Path reincarnation diagram instantly collapsed, and then his arms turned into 2 mists of blood in an instant. 4 rounds of lightning punishment in a row fell on him in an instant. Poof! Blood splattered everywhere, and pieces of flesh flew everywhere. 4 rounds of terrifying lightning punishment fell together and directly smashed him into pieces. However, even so, he was still not dead. The pieces of flesh wriggled in the sky, and in the blink of an eye, his body was reformed. He gasped for breath, and blood gushed out of his mouth as he looked up at the sky. The sky was still dark. The thunderclouds were still there. Boom! A thunder exploded, and the 12th round of lightning punishment fell. Lin Tian gritted his teeth and clenched his fists. His body, which was already weak and trembling, burst out with monstrous divine light again. Great Path, heavenly tribulation, kill! He roared. Golden divine light rushed into the sky, and he rushed up directly. The Chaos Emperor Fist shook the sky, and the fist shook the soul. He used the Emperor Fist without holding back, shattering the lightning bolts one after another, and blood kept splashing out of his body. Boom! Thunder roared, shaking all directions. He charged under the heavenly tribulation, shattering his body again and again and again, like an indestructible god of war. Soon, after the 12th round of lightning punishment, the 13th round of lightning punishment fell. The space in all directions was completely flooded by the oppressive and destructive aura. Then, the 14th, 15th, and 16th rounds of lightning punishment fell one after another. Waves of terrifying lightning struck Lin Tian, shattering Lin Tian again and again. The land within a radius of hundreds of thousands of miles was completely turned into ruins. Poof! Lin Tian's body shattered for the 21st time, and the 16th round of lightning punishment disappeared. His flesh wriggled, and a weak blood-red flame flickered. A moment later, his body was reformed. Is he a monster? Is the reincarnation body so powerful? In the distance, the netherworld grand ancestor trembled. Starting from the 9th round of lightning punishment, every round of lightning punishment was destructive. Even if he was a level 9 celestial venerable, he had no confidence that he could withstand that level of lightning punishment. Once he was hit, he would definitely die without leaving a trace. However, he saw with his own eyes Lin Tianyi shatter and resist the lightning punishment round after round, and he did not die until the 16th round of lightning punishment. Such combat strength made him, a figure who had reached the end of the celestial venerable level, feel waves of fear. One should know that Lin Tian had just stepped into the celestial venerable level. He had just stepped into this level, but he already had such terrifying strength. How terrifying was that? How terrifying was that? At the center of the heavenly tribulation, Lin Tian stood in the void, blood gushing out of his mouth. His body trembled as he looked up at the sky. The sky was still so dark. Boom! Ear-piercing thunder sounded again, shaking all directions of the sky. Within the pitch-black thundercloud vortex, the 17th round of heavenly punishment appeared. Numerous stars condensed from thunderbolts appeared. There were so many of them that it was like a starry sky filled with thunderbolts. Lin Tian's body could not stop trembling. The destructive aura fell on his body, causing him severe pain all over. He gritted his teeth and forcibly operated the Heart Sutra of Sunday. Wisps of golden divine light overflowed from his body, but they seemed very weak. Boom! The sky trembled, and another clap of thunder sounded. Lin Tian was in the center of the heavenly tribulation. His body shook violently, and the destructive aura fell from the sky. He fell to the ground with a bang. Cough! He coughed up blood, smashing the ground even more. There were more cracks on his body and blood flowed out. He struggled to stand up, but he had no strength at all. Even moving a finger became difficult. The divine power in his body had completely dried up. Boom! Chapter 1324. The sky was pitch black. The 17th round of lightning punishment was extremely terrifying. It condensed the tribulation lightning into stars. The entire starry sky of thunder pressed down from the heavens. The oppressive and destructive aura caused the space in all directions to collapse inch by inch. Move! Lin Tian roared in his heart. He lay on his back on the ground and struggled with all his might, but he really couldn't move. Now, the divine power in his body was completely exhausted. His aura was weak to the bottom. His life essence had become completely dim. Even an ordinary cultivator of the Great Path could easily kill him at this time. Boom! Thunder roared in the sky. The lightning starry sky pressed down. It was very slow, but wherever it passed, everything was destroyed. Lin Tian lay on his back on the broken ground. Blood flowed out of his mouth. He looked at the lightning starry sky that was slowly pressing down. He continued to struggle, desperately trying to stand up, but it was useless. After withstanding 16 rounds of terrifying divine punishment in a row, his injuries were too severe. At this time, he was completely unable to move. He could only watch the lightning starry sky press down on him. For a moment, he was a little stunned. Is it going to end? He was a little bitter. In his decades of cultivation, he had experienced many great disasters. He had broken through every time, but now he was truly in despair. His divine power had dried up and his body couldn't move. Facing the lightning starry sky pressing down from the heavens, he had no way to do anything. Blood flowed out of his mouth. From the beginning, he knew that this divine punishment would be difficult to pass. But when it really came to this moment, it still made him feel very uncomfortable. If he couldn't pass, he would die. No one was willing to die. He was the same. He had too many things that he couldn't let go of. How could he be willing to die like this? Lying on the broken ground, at this moment he thought of many things. He thought of his sister, Lin Shi, Jiyu, Shuiyi, Bai Qiu, and Su Shu. How could he let go of them? He thought of Bai Ziki, Ling Yun, Fanning Xiong, Wuxing Crocodile, Little Taichu, He Jiao, Yin an old drunkard, Purple Fairy, and others. If he died, he would never see them again. Then, the figure of a woman in white appeared in his mind. She was so peaceful and quiet. Well, it's really familiar. What exactly did I forget? Blood continued to flow out of his mouth. When he thought of Wu Yi, he felt even worse. He seemed to have forgotten something very important. Boom! Thunder rumbled, and the thunder-starry sky pressed down, and the world became even darker. Far off in the distance, the netherworld grand ancestor couldn't stop himself from trembling. He quickly moved even farther away to watch what was happening. He's dead. He looked at Lin Tian, who was covered in blood and couldn't help but grit his teeth. There was a trace of pleasure in his eyes, but at the same time, there was also discomfort. Lin Tian being struck to death would allow him to vent his hatred, but after being struck to death, the source of reincarnation would also dissipate. He would not be able to obtain the greatest divine treasure in the world, and that would be a great regret. Damn it, he gritted his teeth, and his feelings could be said to be extremely complicated and conflicted. Boom! The roar of thunder resounded through the 9 heavens, rolling and rumbling. The thunder-starry sky began to press down faster and faster, and the aura of destruction became even more terrifying, enveloping the surrounding space. Lin Tian was covered in blood. At this time, even his vision was blurred. He could only watch the thunder-starry sky pressing down on him. In his mind, familiar figures flashed, and vaguely, he seemed to be able to hear their voices. I don't want to die. His vision was blurred, and blood was gushing out of his mouth. His voice was as weak as a mosquito's. The rolling thunder rumbled, and the thunder-starry sky carried the aura of destruction, and in the blink of an eye, it was above his head. Lin Tian was completely desperate. Looking at the thunder-starry sky pressing down on him, he slowly closed his eyes. Buzz! At this moment, a light appeared between his eyebrows. Strands of 7-colored light emerged and enveloped him in the blink of an eye. In his sea of consciousness, the 7-colored divine sword vibrated. It silently drew out of his sea of consciousness and appeared in front of him. The divine sword was 3 feet long, and the sword was covered with divine patterns. It was mysterious and difficult to identify. In an instant, the lightning starry sky that was pressing down was forcefully stopped. It was as if it was blocked by an invisible force and could not descend. Then, in the next moment, there was a crisp, sizzling sound. In the blink of an eye, it was completely shattered. At the same time, the entire dark sky could not help but tremble violently. Buzz! The divine sword vibrated slightly, and strands of 7-colored divine light surrounded Lin Tian. His injured body was healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Lin Tian naturally felt it. He suddenly opened his eyes and was immediately moved. This is... Looking at the divine sword in front of him, his eyes twitched, and his pupils could not help but widen. The divine sword in his sea of consciousness had drawn itself out to protect him. He was tongue-tied, and he was stunned. At the same time, his flesh and blood were vibrating. As the 7-colored divine light surrounded him, his injuries were healed in an instant. His internal organs were completely repaired, the cracks on his spiritual body disappeared, and his life origin became bright. His essence, energy, and spirit were restored to their peak at this moment. He felt the vigorous divine power begin to flow in his body again. After a moment's pause, he stood up. Buzz! The 7-colored divine sword intertwined with 7-colored light, bobbing up and down in front of him, causing the surrounding void to become slightly distorted. Looking at the divine sword in front of him, his eyes flashed, and his eyes were full of light. At the same time, in the distance, the netherworld grand ancestor was shocked. How is this possible? Looking from afar, the 9th stage heavenly venerable of the netherworld clan changed color and could not help but tremble. Standing in the distance, he clearly witnessed the process of the 7-colored divine sword drawing out of Lin Tian's sea of consciousness. He clearly saw that as soon as the 7-colored divine sword appeared, the falling thunderous starry sky was instantly shattered, and even the heavens and earth trembled. He could not help but be shocked. Lin Tian was not only a reincarnated body, but he also had such a divine sword in his body. This was definitely not something a heavenly treasure could compare to. This, he trembled, looking at the seven-colored divine sword from afar. His eyes were filled with shock, and then a touch of greed appeared. As powerful as he was as a ninth-stage heavenly venerable, his eyesight was definitely not bad. He clearly felt the terror of this seven-colored divine sword, which was definitely far beyond the scope of a heavenly treasure. If he could get this divine sword, how great would that be? Under the heavenly tribulation, in the center, Lin Tian was surprised by the sudden appearance of the divine sword, but he was also aware of what was happening around him. At this time, he naturally noticed the Netherworld Grand Ancestor's gaze and tilted his head to look at him. Meeting Lin Tian's gaze, the Netherworld Grand Ancestor could not help but tremble, and he could not help but take a step back. At this time, meeting Lin Tian's gaze, the powerful Netherworld Grand Ancestor could not help but feel a chill run down his spine. Lin Tian smiled, turned his head, and his gaze fell on the divine sword in front of him again. "I was saved by you," he said to himself. This divine sword was in his sea of consciousness, and he had never been able to control it. This time, if the divine sword had not drawn out of his sea of consciousness to protect him, he would definitely have died under that thunderous starry sky. He would not have been able to withstand it. In the darkness of despair, this divine sword had saved his life. Buzz! The seven-colored divine sword floated up and down, and strands of seven-colored light intertwined. At this time, it did not rush back to his sea of consciousness. He looked at the seven-colored divine sword, and then glanced at the Netherworld Grand Ancestor in the distance. After a pause, he took a deep breath, slowly raised his hand to the divine sword, opened his 5 fingers, and fell on the hilt of the divine sword. The divine sword was covered with strange patterns, intertwined with strands of seven-colored light, and did not resist him. In the next moment, his 5 fingers that fell on the hilt of the divine sword slowly closed, and he truly grasped the divine sword. In an instant, his powerful physique shook violently. Holding the divine sword, he felt as if he was holding the sky-killing blade, as if he could easily cut the sky into 2 parts. Holding this divine sword at this time, he felt that he could do anything, that he could destroy everything in the world with one sword. He looked at the sky, where thunder was rolling, and a pitch-black vortex was horizontal. The 18th thunderbolt was brewing, and it would take a while before it emerged and struck down. Only a few tiny bolts of lightning were falling. Holding the divine sword, he stood on the broken ground, and his gaze moved away from the sky, looking at the Netherworld Grand Ancestor in the distance. The Netherworld Grand Ancestor trembled again, and once again met Lin Tian's gaze. Looking at the seven-colored divine sword in Lin Tian's hand, a sense of fear rose in his heart. He staggered back, and then turned into a bolt of netherworld lightning, and rushed even further away. He felt Lin Tian's killing intent, and at this time, he only wanted to escape, regardless of whether he could escape the range of the heavenly tribulation. The divine sword in Lin Tian's hand terrified him. Whoosh! The sound of something breaking through the air reverberated, and in the blink of an eye, the 9th-stage heavenly venerable netherworld grand ancestor rushed hundreds of thousands of miles away. Lin Tian looked in the direction that the other party rushed out, but did not pursue. He slowly raised the divine sword in his hand, and calmly slashed in the direction that the other party fled. With a soft sound, the air was cut open, and a seven-colored blade of light destroyed everything, almost cutting the sealed, dust ancient region in half. PFFF. There was no scream. Dozens of miles away, a dazzling mist of blood exploded, and the aura of the Netherworld Grand Ancestor disappeared without a trace. One sword annihilated. Lin Tian naturally felt the death of the Netherworld Grand Ancestor. He withdrew his gaze from the distance, and it fell on the divine sword again. So powerful. His eyes were intertwined with a profound light. Although he knew that this divine sword was very terrifying, he still could not help but be surprised at this time. Just now, he just took the opportunity to slash with the divine sword in his hand, and did not even use the slightest bit of divine power. However, the ninth stage heavenly venerable netherworld grand ancestor, who was dozens of miles away, was completely destroyed without even a scream. How terrifying was that? Boom! At this moment, shocking thunder sounded, and endless darkness spread, almost covering half of the sealed dust ancient region. At this moment, the sky cracked open, and the 18th round of the lightning tribulation was revealed. Phantoms appeared one after another, including angels with broken wings, headless knights, immortals with broken arms, ferocious ghosts, ferocious beasts, and blind blood shadows. Chapter 13:25. The sky was pitch black, and densely packed phantoms appeared in the thunderclouds. Every one of them was intertwined with an incomparably terrifying aura, as if they could easily crush the greater thousand worlds. More than half of the sealed dust ancient region became pitch black at this moment. The countless creatures in this world all felt a destructive aura, and every one of them trembled from the bottom of their souls. The sky, why did it become dark? Well, what's going on? This aura. Countless creatures were terrified, trembling with fear. The oppressive and destructive aura floated in every corner of this world. Darkness shrouded the land, as if the end of the world was about to arrive. In this vast sealed dust ancient region, whether it was the netherworld race cultivators or other creatures, all of them were trembling at this moment. Boom! Thunder rumbled, resounding throughout the sealed dust ancient region. Lightning rumbled in the pitch-black world, like streaks of pale light streaking across, reflecting a horrifying scene. Waves of black wind blew in this space, chilling to the bone. It was as if there were creatures sobbing in it, making one's heart palpitate. Lin Tian stood on the broken ground, looking at the pitch-black sky and the phantoms that appeared in the thundercloud vortex. They seemed to be real, but also seemed to be formed by the pure Great Tao. They were all very terrifying. It has already appeared 3 times. He muttered to himself. He had gone through several heavenly tribulations. Including this time, he had gone through 3 heavenly tribulations. The last round of heavenly tribulations was always like this. Of course, the power was more and more terrifying each time. Boom! An extremely dull rumble came from the sky. Lightning streaked across the pitch-black world, and dense tribulation light directly pressed down. These lightning bolts were only ordinary tribulation lightning from the 18th round of heavenly tribulations, but the destructive aura it contained was incomparably terrifying. Every bolt was no weaker than the 17th round of heavenly tribulations. In the blink of an eye, they struck Lin Tian. Outside Lin Tian's body, 7-colored divine light intertwined, like a 7-colored battle armor enveloping him. The terrifying tribulation lightning struck, but it was stopped a few feet away from him. Then it shattered on its own. Even the aura of the 7-colored divine light could not block it. Boom! Thunder rumbled, and even more tribulation lightning descended. Streak after streak of lightning streaked across the pitch-black world, deathly white to the point of being somewhat horrifying. At the same time, angels with broken wings also rushed down. This phantom was completely formed by lightning. It had no expression and looked very blurry, but it seemed to be the true source of destruction. It was hundreds of times more terrifying than the previous 17 main lightning punishments combined. It was appalling. Chi! 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 There wasn't just one angel with broken wings. Instead, there was a dense swarm of them. Wherever they passed, the void would be silently annihilated. It was as if it had returned to its original state, and it would take a long time for it to return to its original state. Their destructive power was extremely terrifying. Lin Tian held the 7-colored divine sword in his right hand and raised his left hand to meet the attack head-on. A faint 7-colored pattern of light appeared, like a ripple on a calm surface of water, spreading towards the sky. The swarm of broken-winged angels that were charging down instantly shook violently. Then, one by one, they shattered into pieces. The power of the seven-colored divine sword was extremely powerful. Boom! Thunder rumbled. In the pitch-black sky, dense lightning continued to strike down, becoming even more terrifying. The tribulation lightning transformed into a sea of destruction, instantly drowning this place. Lin Tian stood on the broken ground, holding the divine sword in his hand. The sword aura protected his body, completely blocking all the tribulation lightning. Not a single bolt of tribulation lightning could hurt him. Come at me together. He looked at the boundless lightning in the sky, raised the seven-colored divine sword in his hand, and pointed it at the sky. The sky was pitch black, and the heavenly tribulation seemed to have its own consciousness. At this moment, it felt Lin Tian's provocation and directly exploded with a monstrous thunder. The entire sky was shattered in an instant, and the oppressive and destructive aura increased tenfold. Boom! 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 Thunder rumbled one after another, and lightning streaked across the sky. At this moment, boundless lightning bolts pressed down mightily. At the same time, in the boundless dark sky, angels with broken wings, headless knights, immortals with broken arms, ferocious ghosts, ferocious savage beasts, and blind blood shadows. 6 different kinds of terrifying phantoms pressed down together with the boundless lightning bolts. It was as if the 6 sources of destruction were going to destroy this entire world. Suddenly, the entire world shook. The sealed dust ancient region was directly enveloped by the destructive aura, and all living things were terrified. This is the last round, Lin Tian whispered. Standing on the broken surface of the earth, he watched as the final round of lightning punishment descended. He could clearly feel the aura of annihilation, but right now, he didn't feel the slightest bit of fear. Instead, his eyes were intertwined with a profound light. Boom! He activated the Heart Sutra of Sun, and golden divine light directly penetrated his body, illuminating this pitch-black space. It's up to you. He looked at the 7-colored divine sword in his right hand. Divine power rolled out, and a monstrous aura burst out. Facing the destructive tribulation, lightning bolts pressing down from the sky, he fiercely slashed the sword towards the sky. Clang! The earth-shattering sword cry resounded throughout the entire sealed dust ancient region, and even spread to the other side of the world, causing countless living things to tremble. The 7-colored divine sword vibrated, and as Lin Tian slashed, a 7-foot-long sword light shot out. It was 7-colored, and majestically slashed towards the sky. Chi! 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 The 7-foot-long sword light was incomparably sharp, and the sword aura was monstrous. Everywhere it passed, everything was destroyed. The lightning bolts that pressed down were instantly destroyed. The broken winged angels, headless horsemen, broken arm immortal spirits, ferocious ghosts, ferocious beasts, and blind blood shadows formed by lightning were instantly shattered. They couldn't withstand this terrifying sword at all, and were as weak as tofu. After that, the 7-foot-long sword light didn't dissipate, and continued to slash towards the sky. In an instant, the pitch-black lightning clouds were shattered, and it slashed towards the distant sky. Its sharp aura surged, and the 7-colored light illuminated the sky, suppressing all living things. Crack! A crisp sound rang out, as if a ceramic was broken. It was crisp and ear-piercing. As far as the eye could see, the pitch-black lightning vortex was shattered and dissipated at this moment. In the endless, distant sky, the 7-foot-long sword light slashed through, and a 7-foot-long crack was slashed open. There was a strange and dreamy spiritual light gushing out from within. This spiritual light was incomparably dense and shocking, but it was also very gentle, as if it was nurturing endless hope. It made one's imagination run wild. Lin Tian's body shook violently. Standing on the broken ground, he looked at the 7-foot-long crack in the distant sky. Looking at the spiritual light gushing out from the crack, he felt an aura that didn't belong to this world. It was strange, vast, and majestic. This could it be? Looking at the 7-foot-long crack, his pupils couldn't help but jump. The aura overflowing from this crack is mixed with strangeness, vastness, and majesty. It definitely doesn't belong to any of the worlds from the first to the ninth heaven, as if it is nurturing endless possibilities. The aura contained in it is much stronger than any place from the first to the ninth heaven, as if it is a new world, causing his divine soul to tremble involuntarily. The space behind it gave him an intuition that it is a world that is much vaster than the 9 heavens he has been to before. Behind it, is it the 10th heaven? His eyes twitched violently, and such an idea appeared in his mind, and he immediately confirmed it in his heart. He believes in his perception, believes in his intuition, and believes in his intuition. Behind it is definitely the 10th heaven. At this moment, the 7-colored divine sword cut open the barrier of the 10th heaven. In the infinite sky, behind the 7-foot-long crack, wisps of spiritual light gushed out, then began to shrink and slowly heal. Lin Tian's body shook again. He gritted his teeth and directly operated the Sun Heart Sutra to the extreme, bursting out a monstrous golden light. At this moment, without hesitation, he stomped on the ground fiercely, turned it to a golden lightning, and rushed towards the crack. Whoosh! The sound of breaking through the air was very harsh. At this moment, he displayed the 9th layer of the duality steps to the limit. His entire body turned into light, causing the space around him to become blurry. The 7-foot crack was infinitely far from the surface, and it slowly closed. It went from 7 feet to 6 feet to 5 feet to 4 feet to 3 feet to 2 feet, and finally, at the moment before it completely closed, he still rushed into it. Darkness covered his vision, and his figure disappeared from the sealed, dust, ancient domain. His aura also disappeared in an instant. Then, after an unknown amount of time, the light reappeared, and the void trembled. A gentle and powerful force directly blasted him out, and he once again landed on the solid ground. A light breeze blew by from afar, cool and gentle. As far as the eye could see, the surface of the ground was covered with green grass. Each of them was about a foot tall, and they were all the same. Occasionally, there would be a few pieces of gray stone mixed in, giving people a very peaceful feeling. Lin Tian looked into the distance, and the scene he saw was exactly the same as before. In this large space, there were no majestic mountains, no turbulent seas, and no powerful monster beasts. No matter how far he looked, the ground was as flat as a plain, and every corner was covered with green grass. This world was like a boundless flat grassland. Every corner was so monotonous. Standing on the surface of this space, a gentle breeze blew past, and his clothes and black hair fluttered in the wind. This is the 10th heaven? He was a little stunned. He once tried to imagine the scene of the 10th heaven, where ancient divine mountains towered and immortal rivers flowed for thousands of years. But now, what he saw in front of him made him stunned. What he saw was completely different from what he imagined. In this big space, except for the vastness and boundless aura, everything else was barren. Buzz! The air trembled, and the eternal breeze blowing in this space suddenly became gentler at this moment. Chapter 13:26. The Empyrean level heavenly tribulation dissipated and was shattered by Lin Tian's 7-colored divine sword. Now, even though he had left the sealed dust ancient region and was in a new world, the great path of heaven and earth could still sense his location. At this time, the 7-colored auspicious clouds gathered, and strands of heaven and earth light fell from above and entered his body. Lin Tian's body shook slightly. Looking at the 7-colored auspicious clouds in the sky, he knew very well that the 7-colored divine light from the 7-colored auspicious clouds was very precious. He immediately took a deep breath and forced himself to calm down. He operated the Heart Sutra of Sun and quickly refined the divine light that entered his body, turning it into pure energy that flowed into every part of his body. Suddenly, the golden divine light outside his body became blazing, and his essence energy, and spirit rose at an extremely fast speed. In the blink of an eye, a full hour passed. The golden divine light outside his body became even more blazing, as if wisps of golden flames were burning outside his body, causing the surrounding void to be dyed with a layer of dazzling gold. Boom! The next moment, a tyrannical aura swayed from his body, turning into a fierce hurricane that swept out in all directions. Cultivating with the seven-colored divine light overflowing from the seven-colored auspicious clouds, he stepped into the second-level Empyrean realm in just half an hour. Moreover, this trend did not stop there. His essence, energy, and spirit continued to rise at an extremely fast speed. In this way, it was not until half an hour later that his aura stabilized, and the golden divine light outside his body became several times more blazing than before. His cultivation stopped at the peak of the second-level Empyrean realm and did not rise any further. He clenched his fist and clearly felt that his combat strength was many times stronger than before the heavenly tribulation. His flesh, divine soul, and origin were all stronger. His cultivation at the peak of the second-level Empyrean realm was also very stable, and there was no need for him to do any cultivation consolidation. Very good, he muttered to himself. This was one of the benefits of the heavenly tribulation. As long as he passed through it, his strength would definitely skyrocket. The more terrifying the heavenly tribulation was, the greater the benefits after passing through it. Chee! A light sound came out. In the sky, the seven-colored auspicious clouds disintegrated like bubbles and slowly dissipated in the next moment. Lin Tian looked up, and after a while, he retracted his gaze and looked around. He sized up the space again. As far as the eye could see, every corner of this space was the same. It was as flat as a grassland, and green grass was everywhere. The spiritual energy in the air was extremely dense. The 10th heaven is actually like this, he muttered to himself. Standing in this place, he couldn't see the majestic divine mountain and the magnificent immortal river, but he was very sure that this is definitely the 10th heaven, because he could clearly feel the vastness of this world. It's at least 100 times larger than the 9th heaven. Most importantly, the aura of this world is very strange and majestic, far from being comparable to the lower heavens. The divine sword had already returned to his sea of consciousness. He swept his gaze over this monotonous world. After pausing in place for a while, he casually walked forward in a direction. Oh! Walking in this vast world, a gentle breeze blew past. The grass swayed along with the wind, and the buttocks rose and fell together, just like a blue sea wave. However, looking around, every corner was the same from beginning to end. No matter how far he walked, there was not much change. His pace was very gentle, and his clothes and black hair swayed in the wind. Unknowingly, he had walked hundreds of thousands of miles. After walking so far, the surroundings were still the same. He couldn't see the mountains and rivers, nor could he hear the sounds of birds and beasts. Even the simplest ants and flying insects couldn't be seen. Is the entire great world like this? He was a little dazed. The 10th heaven turned out to be so simple. Buzz! Suddenly, the divine sword that had returned to the bottom of his sea of consciousness vibrated slightly, and strands of seven-colored divine light swayed, pointing directly to the east of this world. Lin Tian's footsteps paused. The divine sword in his sea of consciousness vibrated at this time, pointing directly to the east of this empty world. His expression changed slightly. East. He looked towards the east. The origin of the divine sword in his sea of consciousness is very mysterious. As long as there is a change, it will definitely be extraordinary. This is the case every time. Now that the divine sword had a change, pointing directly to the east of this vast world, he didn't hesitate and directly accelerated towards the east of this heaven. He didn't fly but still walked on the ground, but his speed was amazingly fast. It was like a humanoid lightning moving on the ground, leaving afterimages behind with each step. In the blink of an eye, he crossed a distance of millions of miles. In the blink of an eye, more than 2 hours passed. A light breeze blew in this world. Lin Tian didn't know how far he had crossed, but he stopped at this time. In front of him, there was a stone tablet standing a few meters away. There was a strange and magnificent aura intertwined around it. It was extraordinary. Looking at this stone tablet, Lin Tian's expression suddenly changed, and his eyes twitched violently. Looking at it, the stone tablet was about 10 meters tall, and he didn't know how long it had existed. It was as if it had existed since the beginning of the world, as if it carried the aura of the long river of time. The vastness and ancientness made people's hearts tremble. There were ancient seal characters engraved on it, and each seal character was like a real dragon, containing a shocking aura. Body refining, divine pulse, sea of consciousness, flight, immortal connecting, great Tao, enlightenment, nirvana, chaos. The ancient seal characters on the stone tablet were intertwined with a very shocking and vast aura. From top to bottom, it was actually a great realm. This made his eyes twitch violently, and he looked at the ancient seal characters further back and couldn't help but read out loud, Empyrean, immortal, eternal, true immortal, golden immortal, mystic immortal, celestial immortal, immortal king, true God, heavenly God, divine king, divine emperor, divine emperor. Looking at the ancient seal characters on the stone tablet, he was completely stunned. This stone tablet, about 10 meters tall, was describing the great realms on the path of cultivation to the world. Body refining, divine pulse, sea of consciousness, flight, immortal connecting, great Tao, enlightenment, nirvana, chaos. Empyrean, immortal, eternal, true immortal, golden immortal, mystic immortal, celestial immortal, immortal king, true God, heavenly God, divine king, divine emperor, divine emperor. He looked at the stone tablet in front of him and was inexplicably shocked. After the Chaos Emperor realm, there are actually 13 great realms? Who carved this? He was shocked. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.